And welcome into Cox Mill High School, the home of the Lake Norman Copperheads, as we have a little Friday night baseball on tap. As both of these ball clubs fresh off a very close victory, we have the visiting Regulators Baseball Club and the home Lake Norman Copperheads. As the Regulators shut off a 9-8 road victory over the Mooresville Spinners at Moore Park, a very hard-fought win. As the first pitch of the night is in there for a strike from Carter Lloyd. He'll take the ball for the Copperheads tonight. And the Copperheads had a walk-off win on Wednesday night, as that one is to the first baseman, Connor Paul, and that's going to get through for a single. So Ryan Hines reaches safely, maybe more like an error than a single, but nonetheless, the Regulators get their leadoff man on.
And that one honestly just that one's honestly just chalked up to the fact that Connor Paul hasn't played a ton at first base this season.
As a mistake to start off the evening for the Copperheads, but the Copperheads did walk off against the Corn Dogs, a 2-1 victory on Wednesday night. A walk-off walk, something you don't see every day. Actually, we saw that in our opening game of the SCBL broadcast season, as the Regulators who won a walk-off walk victory over the Disco Turkeys.
And yeah, I mean, it's like we've said all season. It's the Cardiac Copperheads. It struck again.
1-0 count. That one back up the middle. We'll see Painter field it off the bounce, and he misses it. So back-to-back batters, back-to-back errors by the Copperheads infield, and that's costing them early. So Ryan Hines will stand on second. That was Brandon Gibbs who reaches safely to first, and now the catcher Cooper Hertz is up for the Regulators.
Number 18, Cooper Hertz.
So Lloyd not getting much help from his defense early on here, and in a tough situation here in the top half of the first.
Yeah, and Lloyd, a new addition to the Copperheads roster.
That one misses outside. As let's look at the fielders tonight for the Copperheads. Lazaro Santos is holding things down behind the dish. We have Isaac Armstrong at third and Connor Paul at first base. Your middle infielders, Luis Morales at short and Jacob Painter at second base. Will Gray in left field, Caden Haywood in right field, and Josh Jones manning things in center field tonight for the Copperheads. 1-0, outside fastball for a strike.
Yeah, and some familiar faces for the Copperheads, but also a lot of new names mixed in there as well.
As the Copperheads sport a 3-1 record here at home this season. Only one road affair so far. 1-1 from Lloyd. Outside, did he go? No, he did not.
Yeah, and I think for the Copperheads tonight, they're going to be looking to win in a commanding sense, because that's something they haven't done all season.
Yeah, I mean, all three wins have been by a run or less. 2-1. Swung on, fouled, and off the screen.
I mean, it's still early in the season, but I think if you're the Copperheads, you'd even take a 3-run win at this point.
But, Eric, at the end of the day, a win's a win, so you'll take them any way you can get them. They're
True.
hard to come by.
They all show up the same way in the win column.
That is for sure. We have a 2-2 count. Pitch on the way. Fastball outside, runs the count full. As Lloyd needs to fire on a strike right here, in danger of loading the bases here in the top half of the first inning. So Lloyd looks in, gets the sign from Santos behind the dish, gets set. The full count pitch on the way. Fastball, that one poked into shallow right field, and that will get caught right there from Caden Haywood for out number one. The throw to third is not needed as Ryan Hines stays at second. As Lloyd got him right there on the fastball. Hertz goes back to the dugout. Now one out in the inning, and that brings in Michael Perry.
Yeah, it's big for Lloyd to get his first out of the outing right there.
Michael Perry from Callum College of St. Joseph, 6'3", 210 junior. Fastball misses high. As the Regulators have had quite the turnaround this season. Only won 4 games last year, but already have 3 on the season. As a new coaching staff and new beginnings. A 1-0. Fastball right down Broadway for a strike.
Yeah, they seem very determined. The coaching staff came in and knew what they had to do to turn around last season. And, you know, they knew it wasn't a successful season, and they knew what they had to do to fix it.
As Lloyd comes set, the 1-1 on the way. Fastball, and that goes right at the home dugout. As Perry was batting in the 4-hole last night for the Regulators, as we saw him get one hit and walk twice. So Lloyd now one strike away from getting out of this jam and forcing it to 2 outs. 1-2 on the way. Fastball just a little bit high. Two count, 1 out in the inning. Score is still knotted up at 0. Fastball misses inside and runs the count full, so we'll see for back-to-back at-bats, Carter Lloyd will run it full. As tonight's affair is one of 3 games on the SCBL calendar, and we'll keep you updated on all 3 of those games as they go along. Fastball misses high as that loads the bases. And the Regulators looking to get something going here in the top half of the first inning, and a good situation for Trey Hernandez, who now comes up.
Batting fifth, the third baseman, Trey Hernandez.
As Hernandez stands in at 6'3", 190 in the righty's batter's box. Fastball misses inside, and that clips him for the first run of the evening for the Regulators. As that one just got Hernandez, but nonetheless, take your base, and that'll drive in Ryan Hines from third.
Now batting number 16.
Yeah, and making your second appearance of the season, you know, not the way you want to start it here.
And that brings in the left fielder, Sam DiColo. Fastball is inside. One-0. Slider on the outside portion of the plate just clips the strike zone. One count, bases loaded. Outside for a ball.
For DiColo, he's looking to really get his season going. I don't believe he's even had a hit so far this year.
And no better chance to do it than right here, as he's in a favorable 3-1 hitters count, as Lloyd has to put something in the zone and in danger of letting in his second run of the top half of the first. 3-1. Ball misses outside as DiColo take your base, and Brandon Gibbs scores the second run of the evening for the Regulators. So that's the third straight batter that Lloyd has allowed on base freely. 2 by walks and 1 by a hit by pitch, and now we see the Copperheads coaching staff going to have a word with him. As they're having a chat on the bump. So Michael Perry stands at third, Trey Hernandez at second, and Sam DiColo at first. 1 out in the inning as we have a 2-0 ball game. As the Regulators are striking even before the Copperheads can get a word in, and that brings in a very dangerous man, the center fielder Ryan Pruitt. As Pruitt on Wednesday night was a home run away from the cycle.
I mean, yeah, just impressive game from him.
As that one's in the dirt, good block right there from Santos, and Perry decides not to move up from third.
I mean, for Pruitt, he's batting .750 on the season. He's just going to continue that hot streak.
As Pruitt already with 3 RBIs on the year, and 2 of those came on Wednesday night. 1-0 misses high.
And if you're the Copperheads in this situation, this is not the guy you want to see at the plate.
2-0 on the way. As that one misses once more. As the early struggles continue, we hear that Regulators dugout getting fired up and trying to get behind their guy Pruitt. 3-0 on the way. Fastball for a strike, as you got to imagine that was an auto take right there from Ryan Pruitt.
Yeah, and for the Regulators, to turn themselves around from last season, which wasn't very good, it takes camaraderie and it takes, that team mentality.
As Lloyd goes from throwing 7 straight balls to 2 straight strikes, and that runs the count full for the 3rd time in the inning. 3-2 on the way. That one poked into left field and foul, as Pruitt was out in front of that one. A big pitch right here from Lloyd. 3-2 on the way. And the backdoor cutter doesn't get in there safely. Ryan Pruitt, take your base. That's the 3rd batter of the inning he's walked. And the Regulators now take a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just one of the biggest things you can't do in baseball. You can't just allow guys to walk home. That's almost unacceptable as a pitcher.
And that's going to be the end of his evening. A short affair, only goes a 1/3 of an inning and allows 3 runs in, and those runners at 2nd and 3rd will be his. We'll let the new pitcher warm up, and we'll be back here in just a moment at Cox Mill High School. The Regulators lead the Copperheads 3-0.
I think he might be a high school.
And welcome back here to Cox Mill High School, as after a pitching change, we see Lloyd go off the mound, and Seth Hagler, the new pitcher into the game for the Lake Norman Copperheads. As a local kid from East Lincoln High School, so high school teammates to Isaac Armstrong, who's playing 3rd base tonight for the Copperheads. As the slider runs in and will get Luke Byler. So 1 pitch and 1 hit batter by Seth Hagler, as things go from bad to worse from the Copperheads.
Yeah, and for the Copperheads all season, it just feels like they can't get consistent pitching this year.
Now batting number 2, Lance.
As now we have a 4-0 ball game, and we see Trey Hernandez walk home easily. And the 9-hole hitter Lance Vickers is up with only 1 out in the inning. Fastball misses outside from Hagler.
Yeah, for the Copperheads, that wasn't on their bingo card tonight. Nearly the whole lineup for the Regulators going through in the first inning.
Yeah, I mean, we'll at least get to the 10-hole hitter. Gable will see if they flip over the lineup card. 1-0. Fastball misses high. So, since Hagler's came in, 3 pitches, 3 balls. And just a tough situation to be in coming into the game out of the bullpen in the first inning and having to face the bases loaded. 2-0. And that's the first strike of the evening right there from Hagler.
I wonder what about these Regulators hitters tonight are giving these Copperheads pitchers so much nerves.
You know, I don't know. It just might be just a lack of control in general as Vickers watches a low fastball for a strike. Count runs even.
Yeah, and if you're the Copperheads, you have to have looked at the other night with the Regulators beating the Spinners and thought, man, that's a pretty big win for them. That's not a team you really want to play.
As Vickers had 1 hit in that win over the Spinners and 2 walks in the process. Two-two count, 1 out in the inning. Pitch on the way. Fastball misses outside. Count runs full for the 4th time in the inning now. A much-needed strike right here from Seth Hagler. The 3-2 on the way. And did he go? Yes, he did. Seth Hagler, first strikeout of the evening and of the night for the Copperheads.
Number 22,
And Lance Vickers goes down by way of the sword right there. And that brings in the DH and the 10-hole hitters, Chase Gable.
And that was a big first out there for Hagler.
Base is still loaded. Strike right there from Hagler, and after missing the first 3 pitches of his evening by way of a ball, starting to rope things in here right here.
Yeah, I mean, for Hagler, it's hard not to be nervous, especially coming in with the bases loaded, and he probably just took a couple pitches to get his nerves together.
0-1. Swing and miss right there from Gable, and now Hagler 1 strike away from getting out of a very tough jam.
Depending on how this appearance plays out for Hagler, this reminds me a lot of the Brock Graff appearance. You know, coming in after a pitcher had struggled, you know, he was a little shaky at the start, and then he really brought it together and turned it into a great outing.
As the 0-2 is fouled off as Gable just a little bit in front of that slider. As from what we've seen tonight from Hagler, definitely doesn't have the velo there, but has reined in the control as of the last 2 batters. Hagler comes set. The 0-2 once more. Fastball, strike 3, gets him looking. And Hagler, back-to-back strikeouts, gets out of a very tough jam, but not before the Regulators put up a 4 spot in the top half of the first inning. And the Copperheads will have to play catch-up. 4-0 ball game, bottom half of the first inning on the way. back here, bottom of the first inning, and the Copperheads having to play catch-up, down 4-0. As the first pitch of the evening from Maxwell Moore is a strike on the outside portion of the strike zone. Moore from Richmond, Virginia, stands 6'4", 240, a big lefty on the bump, and plays his college ball at Mount St. Mary's University, and he'll be going into his senior campaign. 1-1 count to Morales. Swung on and fouled into the screen, as Luis Morales has been on a tear so far this season, and standing second in the SCBL and the batting average category, sporting a .571 average. A swing and a miss right there from Morales, as one batter faced, one batter put down from Maxwell Moore, and the Regulators looking hot early.
But if that lights a fire, under Morales, the Regulators better watch out, because his next at bat, he'll be looking to put something deep.
As Kill Ayler, the EH, now in for the Copperheads. As that one is going to run in and get Ayler on the shoulder. So take your base, and that puts one runner on with Isaac Armstrong now up.
That's the second time this season he's been hit by a pitch.
Number 4, Isaac Armstrong.
As Armstrong, a very talented kid out of East Carolina University, and batting .333 right now, and had a big fly in the loss against the Spinners earlier this week over the center field wall.
You know, he's usually one of the guys that they consider for the leadoff spot. Interesting to see him in the 3-hole tonight.
As Armstrong is a traditional infielder. We saw him play in the outfield earlier this week, but back to the hot corner at third. As he pops that one over the screen, and he'll be down in the count 0-2. So Ayler standing on first, being held on by Byler. As the 0-2 from Moore on the way. Fastball inside, and just misses right there from Moore as Armstrong stays alive.
Yeah, Armstrong this season really has been adding to what already is a pretty deep resume he has.
Fastball misses high, and Armstrong, a very highly talented recruit coming out of high school, as he played his high school ball for the Mustangs of East Lincoln, and was a 9.5 PG grade coming out of high school, so obviously has the talent. 2-2, as the backdoor slider doesn't get in there, and Armstrong works from 0-2 to 3-2.
That's one of the things that the Copperhead hitters have really been doing well this season, working back into counts.
3-2, Armstrong swings, popped over the screen, and the count will stay full.
I think a lot of pitchers probably don't want to face these Copperheads batters because while they are streaky, when they get hot, they're hard to face. They get hits, they work back into counts, they draw walks, and they're aggressive on the base paths.
The 3-2 swing and a miss right there from Armstrong. And that's the second strikeout of the bottom half of the first inning by Maxwell Moore.
Now batting, number 24.
And that'll bring in Caden Haywood, the right fielder tonight for the Copperheads. As this is Haywood's first action of the summer. And we'll see what he can do here batting in the 4-hole tonight for the Copperheads.
Haywood really is a jack of all trades. He even played quarterback in high school.
And obviously has the arm, playing quarterback in high school and playing right field tonight for the Copperheads. Oh-1. Swung on to the first baseman, Byler. He bobbles it, and Haywood's going to beat it out.
Showing off his speed there, too.
As Byler maybe took that one for granted and couldn't field the chopper. And Haywood reaches safely by way of an error.
And in a lot of these games this season, it's been simple errors by the other teams like that that's gotten the Copperheads going. They get one freebie, and then their bats do the rest.
As the Copperheads in a 4-0 deficit right now, and you got to imagine they're going to be trying to work their way back. And brings in Will Gray, sporting a .308 average on the season, as he's a returning guy from last year. 4 hits, one of those being a double, and 2 RBIs.
He's another guy who's had a pretty good season this year.
As he won SCBL Player of the Week 1 week last year, as he went on a tear, hit about 2 or 3 home runs in a span of a week.
And he'll be looking for another one of those weeks here soon.
Yeah, I mean, a former JUCO All-American, and now playing his ball at West Virginia Tech. 1-1. And that one misses right there from Moore, runs the count to 2-1.
And against the Corn Dogs the other night, the difference making really was that aggressive base running again. I've been stressing it all season. When the Copperheads are aggressive on the base paths, they win ball games.
As in this inning, they have 2 runners on, but no hits as they've reached by way of a hit by pitch and an error. 2-1 as Gray comes up swinging, but fouled off. So that runs the count even at 2-2. So lots of 2s to go around, 2 runners on, 2-2 count, 2 outs in the inning. As Moore just 1 strike away from getting out of a little bit of a jam. And he'll do just that. As actually that was the 2nd strike of the at-bat, pardon me. As the scoreboard had it wrong, but nonetheless now the count is at 2-2.
But against the Corn Dogs, they set up the walk to win the game by doing an aggressive double steal after they lost their original runner on third.
As in the end, Will Gray does strike out, swinging through that fastball from Moore, as all 3 outs in the bottom half of the first inning have come by way of the strikeout. And the lead will stay at 4-0 for the Regulators. Back here, top half of the 2nd inning on the SCBL YouTube channel. Back here, top half of the 2nd inning, Regulators hold a 4-0 advantage after they had a great top half of the first, as Seth Hagler came in relief for Lloyd on the bump and struck out the final 2 batters of the inning. And the lineup card flips over. Ryan Hines up for the 2nd time tonight, only in the 2nd inning.
And was that on your bingo card tonight, saying that the lineup card's flipping over in the 2nd inning?
Definitely not, and especially not flipping over in the 2nd inning with no outs in the inning and the first batter of the inning up. As the curveball misses inside, 1-1 count.
Hagler did put together a couple of good at-bats there, so he'll be looking to have a long outing tonight.
Fastball misses outside as Ryan Hines reached on an error his first time up. Kind of a ball went right through Connor Paul's leg at first base, and that kind of hit things off for the Regulators. 2-1. Swing and a miss right there from Hines. Runs the count even. As Hagler doesn't have the velocity up there, but is kind of just picking his spots. 2-2. Swung on and into the protective padding behind home.
And for the Regulators, they'll take anyone towards the bottom of their batting stats getting those hits They've got a lot of guys who haven't gotten a hit yet so far. They've got a couple guys who are only really batting 250, 143, Ryan Hines being one of them. So they're going to be happy that he, even though it was an error, that he got on base.
2-2. Swing and a miss right there from Hines. As the last three batters Seth Hagler has faced, he's put down on Ks.
Now batting number 4, Brandon Gibbs.
As Hagler's been looking good so far tonight. And that brings in the second baseman, Brandon Gibbs. As Gibbs had quite the Wednesday night, Eric. I mean, he reached base safely by way of walks 4 times. And he reached safely on an error, a bobble by Jacob Painter at second base his first time up.
You know, when you say a guy is seeing the ball well, you usually are talking about he's hitting the ball well. But he got on base 4 times on a walk. You could say he's seeing the ball pretty well.
As the Gibbs from Anderson University in South Carolina ropes that into center field right at Josh Jones. Barely had to move a muscle for out number 2. As unlucky right there from Gibbs, as some great power on that ball, but hit right at the center fielder Jones.
Cooper Hertz.
And that brings in the catcher Cooper Hertz, as he had a shallow pop fly to the right fielder Caden Hayward for the first out in the first inning. And Hagler now 1 out away from a 1-2-3 second inning. Slider misses outside.
And speaking of the center fielder, Josh Jones, he had quite the pitching performance the other night against the Corn Dogs. He came in and threw 3 shutout innings.
As a strike right there from Hagler. As for the Copperheads, the wins so far this season have not been easy to come by, but have been wins. Hagler working out of the windup. 1-1. Fastball, and that's the Painter at second base. Caught on a line. 1-2-3 inning from Seth Hagler sets down the Regulators as they put up a 0 spot, but they still lead by 4. 4-0 ball game. Bottom 2 on the way. Back here, bottom half of the second inning. As we'll see, Connor Paul, Josh Jones, and Matt Goldsich up for the Copperheads as they're trying to work their way back from a 4-0 deficit in the top half of the first inning. And Maxwell Moore on the bump for a second inning of work as he struck out 3 batters in the first inning, hit 1 batter, and then we saw Caden Hayward reach by way of an error. 0-1. Fastball misses outside.
For Connor Paul, he's had a limited amount of plate appearances, but he's been hitting it well this season. Hitting it, batting .667.
As he leads the Copperheads in batting average. That one roped down the right field line, but foul, as Paul was a mile early on that one.
6 hits and 11 appearances. That's a pretty good start to the season, if you ask me.
And 2 walks in the process, 1 stolen base, and sporting an OPS of 1,500. 1-2. Misses inside. As that slider just didn't have enough whip on it to sneak into the strike zone. Moore working out of the windup. 2-2 on the way. Swung on by Paul, and that's going to get through the gap for a leadoff single. As Gibbs at second base just couldn't get there, and Paul reaches safely and continues his hot ways at the dish this season.
Yeah, for sure. And for Connor Paul, 6'2", 213, he's got a powerful frame, not only to get out and go yard, but also on the mound. He's a pitcher as well. A valuable player for this Copperheads team.
As any two-way guys you can get in summer ball is definitely valuable.
Speaking of two-way players.
Yeah, Josh Jones steps in for the Copperheads in their 2-1 victory as he bounces that one to Moore at the pitcher and flipped over for out number 1. As Jones came in for relief 7, 8, 9 innings and got the save in a 2-1 victory.
And for Jones, he had 5 strikeouts, only 1 walk. In the most pressure-filled innings of the game, the Copperheads were knocking on the door, trying to get on base, trying to win that game, and he shut them down.
And that brings in Matt Goldsich, who has struggled so far this summer, only batting .143 through 7 at-bats and 3 games played. But an RBI chance right here as Connor Paul stands on second. The Copperheads in need of their first run of the evening. Fastball's low. As Moore looks back at Paul at second. 1-0. Fastball on the outside portion for a strike. One out in the inning. And that one to Gibbs at second base. And easy enough right there for out number 2. So Paul reached safely on a leadoff single, but back-to-back groundouts from Josh Jones and Matt Goldstitch brings up Lazaro Santos with 2 outs in the inning.
Number 6, Lazaro Santos.
Santos, another guy that's really struggled so far for the Copperheads in the bottom half of the lineup, as he hasn't gotten a hit through 9 at-bats and 3 games played, but has walked 4 times, so maybe he hasn't got a hit this season, but still getting on base any means necessary. As that one's right back up the middle, Gibbs trying to make a tough play backhanded and can't get it. So an RBI infield single from Lazaro Santos, and what a way to get your first hit of the summer and get an RBI in the process.
And for the Copperheads, that's huge. They have a pretty small catching rotation, so they're going to need all their catchers firing on all cylinders all season long, with only 3 of them rotating through all season.
Number 8, Jacob Painter.
As that makes it a 4-1 ball game, and that brings in Jacob Painter, the second baseman. Painter watches a fastball go by for a strike. As Painter, another guy that's really struggled this season, as a 0 average on 6 at-bats, but also 2 walks.
And that now leaves him as the last Copperhead to get a hit.
As Painter, in those 6 at-bats he struck out 5 times. He only put 1 ball in play this season.
Yeah, for Painter, he's just not seeing the ball too well. He's really got to figure that out. You know, more time in the batting cage, I think, is what he needs.
0-2 misses high. As that one is into shallow left field. DeColo coming in on it, and that ball's going to drop. So 2 guys that haven't got a hit all summer get their first hits of the evening here in the second inning.
And for the Copperheads, that's huge. When you can have some guys breaking slumps and getting out of ruts, then that allows the guys who are hot to even have more people on base and more opportunities to score runs.
And that flips over the lineup card for Luis Morales, the shortstop. He struck out his first time up.
But speaking of people who are on fire.
Yeah, I mean, a guy that's second in the SCBL in the batting average category swings through that off-speed pitch, as Morales played for the Regulators last season, was an all-star, and now jumping ship over to the Copperheads, as he was raking even in college ball, hitting .346 for Sterling College, and an international guy from San Juan, Puerto Rico.
And for Morales, I'm sure he has faith in his teammates, but when he looked at the 3 batters up, he probably didn't think there was going to be 2 batters on base right now.
Yeah, I mean, Morales, but he's just a contact guy. I mean, he has 8 hits on the season, but none of those being extra base hits. And only 1 RBI, but a good chance to do it right here as Lazaro Santos stands on second. 2-1 count, 2 outs in the inning. As it's the bottom half of the second inning, Regulators lead 4-1. Fastball misses inside, as Moore has had a lot of calls so far this evening that just haven't gone his way.
I think for all the batters tonight, they're still looking to figure out the strike zone.
As that one is swung on down the right field line and foul. As that will run the count full. Let's look at the Regulators field for you. Cooper Hurst behind the dish. Trey Hernandez at third. Luke Baylor at first base. Your middle infielders are Ryan Hines at short and Brandon Gibbs at second base. Sam DiColo in left. Michael Perry in right. And Ryan Pruitt playing center field. Full count pitch on the way from Moore. Runners will be going. That one misses in the dirt. Gets past Hurts. And Paul stands at third base, deciding not to push his luck as Morales reaches on a walk, and maybe the average won't go up, but the on-base percentage sure will.
Yeah, I mean, he does what he does best. He gets on base.
As that's all you're really asking out of your leadoff guys, just get on base any way possible. And that brings up Kill Ayler, as he only had to face 1 pitch last time, and it was a fastball, hit him in the shoulder. As Ayler batting .273 on the season with 11 at-bats, 3 hits, and 2 of those being doubles. As Ayler, a big lefty hailing from Bavard College, and a Cox Mill guy. Oh, 1. Ayler swinging. That one into left field. We see DiColo coming in on it. And he'll make the diving catch for out number 3. As what a play right there from Sam DiColo. And that gets get the Regulators out of a jam.
Yeah, and after a couple errors, set up the Copperheads. A great play by the Regulators. Made it all for naught.
As the Copperheads get 1 run back in the bottom half of the second inning, but nonetheless, the Regulators still lead 4-1. Third inning on the way. Four, 5, 6 do appear in the top half of the third inning as the right fielder Michael Perry digs into the righty's batter box, and we see Seth Hagler come out for his second full inning of work. Fastball from Hagler gets in there as Hagler put down 1, 2, 3 in the order for the Regulators in the last inning and has 3 strikeouts on the night. 0-1. Swung on and fouled off.
And for Hagler, he's just doing a good job finding the zone. I think he's a little bit of a change of pace than what the Regulators were expecting, and that's working for him so far.
Perry batting .250 on the season with 8 at-bats, 2 hits, and 1 double. And yeah, Eric, I mean, Hagler, he's not blowing the ball past guys, but he's striking guys out, and that's all that matters.
Exactly, and that's all you got to do.
As that slider got away from Hagler right there and goes behind the back of Perry. Runs the count to 1-2.
Sometimes in summer ball, the most important thing is to just get the ball in the zone.
As Hagler's just putting the ball in the zone and trusting the guys behind him. 1-2. Fastball rings him up for strike 3 as Perry goes down looking. And that's Hagler's 4th strikeout on the night.
Now batting number 14,
Hagler is definitely a control guy, and he's done a really good job of throwing fastballs and just moving them around the zone.
As he put that fastball on the outside portion of the strike zone like Picasso and gets out number 1. Fastball misses outside as Trey Hernandez, the third baseman, now up for the Regulators. He was hit by a pitch his first time up. 1-0. Inside fastball misses.
I mean, this performance for him has been like a painting, and those are the first two brush strokes he's missed.
2-0. Fastball misses high, and Hagler now with some problems
And
here to
make
Trey
it 3.
Hernandez. Yeah.
He definitely needs to go back to what was working, just hitting those fastballs right where he wants them in the zone.
3-0. Off-speed Mitch is a 4-pitch walk right there to Trey Hernandez, and he'll reach safely for the second time tonight.
number 16, Sam Del Colo.
So Hagler will now have to worry about Hernandez at first base and Sam DeColo, the left fielder, now up. As he's 0 for 0 on the night as he reached safely on a walk his first time. Inside right there as DeColo only 1 at-bat coming into this game on the season. So this is his 3rd one of the summer right here.
Yeah, with someone so rusty and so new to the season, a double play opportunity maybe here.
Runner will be going, throw by Santos, will not be in time.
But not anymore.
As we see Hernandez take second base. Santos had the arm, but the pitch from Hagler kind of made him move outside a little bit, and that made the throw much harder.
You know, like the A's game, this is another game where the Copperheads are kind of seeing their strategy used against them. Simple hits and aggressive base running.
2-0. That one popped up as Santos is looking for it as he's towards the fence, and he drops the catch in foul territory. As unlucky right there from Lazaro Santos, as those pop flies to the catcher can be very tough, kind of tailing away from him, and just out of the outstretched mitt.
And the Regulators, quite vocal in their dugout tonight.
As that's kind of what you need a lot of times in summer baseball, especially, is once the guys in the dugout rally behind you and you have that energy, especially in a long, hot summer. That energy can be the most important thing and lead to a lot of comebacks. As the curveball misses high, as we saw DeColo have to duck out of the way of that one, runs the count to 3-1.
Especially because the only constant in summer ball is the southern heat.
As we've kind of been lucky so far this summer, as the heat hasn't really been too bad, but tonight has been the first game that the sun has really been baking on the field.
Yeah, for sure. Still not too bad of a night for baseball. It's cooling off as the sun goes down for sure.
3-1 from Hagler. Misses high and back-to-back walks as Hagler's control coming into jeopardy here. And maybe a little bit of announcer jinx as soon as we're talking about how good his control is, he walks back-to-back batters. As that's the second time tonight, DeColo has reached safely by way of a walk, and now bring in Ryan Pruitt. As we'll see a bit of a mound visit right there from Hagler's high school teammate Isaac Armstrong. As Pruitt sporting the best batting average of any Regulators player so far this season. And he'll be playing at Indiana State next season in the OVC. Fastball misses high as Eric, we've seen, as of late, the last couple of batters from Hagler, these fastballs, it's not like they're missing by a lot. They're just missing the strike zone.
Yeah, and I think the biggest issue is that they were working for him just a couple batters ago, and he's expecting them to keep working, and they're not.
1-0, misses outside.
For a pitcher, it's really tough to bring it back in when you're just missing by a little bit because you're that close. You could taste it. You can taste what you had.
As that's 4 straight balls right there from Seth Hagler. And finally gets one right there. Much needed. Runs the count to 2-1.
And speaking of Pruitt, he's going to be quite the well-traveled person after this season. From Texas, played college in Texas, summer ball in the Carolinas, and then all the way to Indiana to play Division I baseball for Indiana State.
As we see Hagler step on the bump right there, as maybe Hernandez at second base playing a little mind games with him. Two-one count, 1 out in the inning. Regulators lead 4-1. That one swung on into center field. Josh Jones camping on under it. And Hernandez will be going, and now smartly decides to hold up at second base for out number 2.
Josh Jones showing off that arm, the same arm that got him all those strikeouts just a couple nights ago.
Batting number 9, Luke Byler.
As now Luke Baylor, the first baseman, steps in with 2 outs in the inning. As Baylor was hit by a pitch his last time up. The 0-0 fastball gets in there for a strike from Hagler.
And that pitch right there is right back to what Hagler's been doing best.
As this matchup is a matchup between 2 of the top teams in the league, as the Copperheads come into this one 3-2, and the Regulators 3-1. 0-1.
And even with Hagler looking a little better, it does look like the Copperheads have some action in the bullpen.
As we'll keep an eye on that for you guys at home. 1-1 count. Hernandez at second and DeColo at first. And that's going to run in and get Byler, as that's why you wear that Evo Shield elbow guard, as if a fastball runs in and gets you, you're good. Take your base, Luke Baylor, and that brings in Luke Vickers. Bases loaded, 2 outs in the inning.
Lance Vickers.
As Vickers was the first guy Seth Hagler faced of the evening, and he struck him out. As Hagler will be looking to do much of the same here, and that's the second time tonight Luke Baylor's been hit by a pitch.
And he'll be happy he's on base, but I think he's going to want to swing the bat. He hasn't really gotten much of a chance tonight.
As we see the umpires having a little chat, as whoever that was warming up in the Copperheads bullpen now coming into the dugout. As the only thing I can imagine right here is the call is the Copperheads managers are arguing that Baylor didn't try to get out of the way of that ball and just kind of stood in there. And in the end, Baylor will be able to stay at first base. As it's kind of a tough call to make, as the guys are supposed to move out of the way. But did he make an attempt? Did he not? Nonetheless, Baylor stands on first, and the E.H. Vickers is up.
And for the umpire standing behind the plate, he's got to worry about, is it a strike or a ball? We don't have a replay system here. That's kind of a tough thing to deal with.
Yeah, no VAR like the Premier League or anything of those sorts, as that one is chopped to Armstrong at third. Throws it across the diamond for out number 3. As Seth Hagler gets out of a jam, bases loaded, 2 outs, and gets Vickers to ground out. As Vickers grounds out for out number 3, it's a 4-1 ball game. We're back here for the bottom half of the 3rd inning. The meat of the order due up here in the bottom half of the third inning as Isaac Armstrong will get things started. He made the play for out number 3 in the top half of the third, and now up for a second at bat of the evening. Swinging a miss right there from Armstrong as he struck out his first time up and looking to better his ways here.
For sure, he knows what he can do. He's had a strong season so far. He'll be looking to bounce back.
As back-to-back swing and a miss right there from Armstrong. As Maxwell Moore out for his third inning of work right here.
He's shown off his power already a couple times this season.
Swing and a miss right there. 3 pitches, 3 strikes, and that equals 1 strikeout from Maxwell Moore. As Armstrong goes down by way of strikeouts for the second time tonight.
Now batting number 24, Caden Haywood.
And now Caden Haywood is up for the Copperheads as he reached on an error his first time up as there was a chopper to Luke Baylor at first base, couldn't field it, and Haywood reaches safely.
And we haven't talked enough about Moore. He's putting together quite the nice outing.
As we saw Harrison Lombardi for the Regulators had a really nice outing to start off on Wednesday night. That one a chopper up the middle, and Haywood reaches safely as that one had some hops on it right there over the head of Moore on the mound, and Haywood with a single.
And that makes every Copperhead who's appeared in the game now with a hit.
Now batting number 9, Will Gray.
And now Will Gray, the left fielder, up as Gray, a traditional kind of corner infielder, first baseman or third baseman, but playing left field tonight for the Copperheads.
Gray, also a traditional leadoff guy.
That one fouled off into the screen.
The Copperheads really have a lot of versatile guys on this team, and that's only going to be to their benefit as the season goes on.
As we see Gray down to the count 0-1. Haywood being held on by Byler at first. He throw over to first and not in time. So Moore looks in, shakes off one, likes the second from Hertz behind the dish. And Gray swings and fouls that one off over to the softball field to our right.
And with a lefty on the mound, I don't expect Haywood to go unless there's really a clear opportunity.
As you got to imagine Haywood has some speed as he beat out kind of that error in his first time up and playing right field tonight. As Gray watches the fastball outside go by for a ball. So Moore looks at Haywood at first and fires home. Fastball misses outside, back-to-back pitches now. As you have to imagine, Maxwell Moore on the bump is an intimidating figure, standing 6'4", 240, and being lefty at that. As that one is poked into right field. Perry camping under it for out number 1. Excuse me, out number 2, as sometimes that can be a tough play to make at this time of day in right field as the sun is setting to our left, as you can kind of see the shadows in the outfield. But nonetheless, Perry makes the play.
Definitely, for the outfielders, a good pair of shades is the right investment. And with your point on Moore, with a lefty on the mound as well, that negates a lot of the aggressive base running that the Copperheads want to do.
As that one is chopped to Gibbs at second base. And for out number 3 of the inning, can't get it any easier for Gibbs. So the Regulators lead stays at 4-1, top half of the 4th inning on the way. We'll be right back here at Cox Mill High School on the SCBL YouTube channel. Welcome back here. Top half of the fourth inning here at Cox Mill High School as the Regulators hold a 4-1 advantage over the Lake Norman Copperheads. As Mike Fergalak is the new pitcher into the game for the Copperheads from Eastern Connecticut State University. As this is his third outing of the summer, sporting a 2.7 ERA and 3.1 innings pitched. 7 strikeouts in those 3.1 innings pitched, so obviously has that strikeout power as he pitched 2 innings in an 8-7 win over the Disco Turkeys on opening night, and a 1.1 innings pitch in a 13-8 loss against the Spinners. As Fergalak gets the ball here in the top half of the fourth.
Yeah, and I mean, in that opening day game against the Turkeys, the pitchers were really dealing with heavyweight punchers from the batters. They were on fire that game.
As the 10-hole hitter Chase Gable is up for the Regulators, so 10-2-1 due up here in the fourth. As we see Fergalak working out of the stretch here. 2-1. Fastball inside misses.
Look at the Regulators roster. They've got players from all over. And if you incorporate that with a couple of the guys from the Copperheads who are out of the country and from other states as well, this is a game that includes a lot of players who are not in the Carolinas, which is something kind of rare for the SCBL.
Yeah, it's mostly, you know, on certain teams, especially like the Mooresville Spinners, kind of the whole roster is local kids, but certainly not for the Regulators. 3-2, and that runs in and gets Gable. So he reached safely, and that brings that back up the top of the order for the third time tonight.
Now batting, number 1, Ryan Hines.
As the shortstop Ryan Hines now up, as on the score sheet he is 0 for 2, but reached safely in his first time up on an error.
And maybe for the Regulators, reaching kind of far and wide for their roster is part of the reason they've had so much success this season compared to years prior.
So we're going to miss right there from Hines. As Eric, kind of a surprise seeing the Copperheads pull Hagel after he was doing so good so far tonight, but you have to imagine after those kind of control issues that led to him leading the bases, that was kind of the final straw. That one right back up the middle, chopper to Morales. He'll tag on second, and he'll take it himself and throw it over to first base. So a 6-4 double play right there, and Morales just does it himself.
Yeah, and for the Copperheads, I think they know that Mike Fergalak can get them a couple of good innings, and maybe even further, and maybe that's something they wanted to see is how long a guy like Fergalak could last. Maybe he's a guy that they're trying to test in a starting role, and this is maybe that experimentation per se.
As Fergalak will be looked to be an innings eater tonight, as both of his outings so far have been kind of short relief outings, but the Copperheads, you know, have kind of lacked pitching depth so far this summer, so anywhere they can get long amounts of innings, they're going to want. As that was a healthy hack right there from the second baseman, Brandon Gibbs. 0 for 2 in the night, reached on an error, and then lined out last time right to Josh Jones in center field. So going to miss right there from Gibbs as Fergalak now 1 strike away from getting out of the inning. As Gibbs might not have the biggest frame, kind of a short and stocky guy, but can put some power behind the baseball. A good eye right there from Gibbs. Runs the count even at 2-2.
And the other possibility for the Copperheads is maybe this is a game where they feel they have enough fresh arms where they can just run a couple guys out for an inning or two, and get through this game and keep using these guys for an inning or two for the next couple of days until they can reset that cycle.
As that's the second batter of the inning that Fergalak has hit. And that keeps the rotation going now. Cooper Hertz up for the Regulators. As, yeah, you're right, Eric. I mean, in that Wednesday night win over the Corn Dogs, the Copperheads only had to use 2 pitchers. As that kind of frees up the rotation a little bit more. Runner will be going as Gibbs might take second, and yes, he will. Has great heads-up baseball IQ right there from Brandon Gibbs. Took a big lead off first base. Fergalak fires back to Connor Paul at first, but by the time Paul got it, Gibbs was halfway to second base.
Yeah, just a heads-up play right there. Shows off his speed. He's quick and he knows it, and he just had to time his run right.
Misses outside right there, as Hertz is 0 for 2 in the night with a pop out and a line out. Oh, 1. Swung on, and that's going to be through the gap as we see Gibbs. He'll be rounding third and be coming down the throw from Haywood in right field. Play at the plate, can't get him in time. As Brandon Gibbs shows off the wheels from second base, and that's an RBI single right there from Cooper Hertz.
Yeah, and for Gibbs now, that decision to steal pays off. He would not have scored there if he was not on second already.
And another thing that to factor in is with Gibbs on second base, that obviously allows him to score easier. But if Jacob Painter doesn't have to hold him on there at second base, I'd say he grounds that ball for out number 3.
Exactly.
As that's the 5th run of the evening right there for the Regulators, and now they hold a 5-1 advantage. Fastball misses low right there from Fergalak as Michael Perry now up to the dish, who is 0 for 1 on the night, as he got caught looking his last time.
Yeah, this Regulators offense tonight is really looking reminiscent of a Copperheads offense.
Yeah, the Copperheads off season and the Regulators tonight, they don't do it in big batches, just little bits at a time, as that one is in the right center field. Josh Jones tracking back towards the wall. A 2-run bomb right there, as he'll touch all 4 of them. Michael Perry, 2-run jack, and the Regulators now lead 7-1. As that one just got over the right center field wall, and the Regulators have yourself a display. Play ski in the dugout right there from Sexy Red, and the guys are getting into it.
Now batting number 14.
And for the Copperheads, they're probably starting to feel like this is a repeat of the game against the A's. They're starting to wonder how long they can keep chasing this game with pitching arms before they just have to send in the position players again.
As Fergalak was looking good, but after that 2-run homer from Perry, that kind of jeopardizes things, as the Regulators' offense has been very hot.
And that seems to be the story of the season for these Copperheads pitchers. They look good, but they've been quick to be figured out by these batters this season.
As Trey Hernandez now out for the Regulators, 0 for 0 on the night as he was hit by a pitch and walked.
One of the rare ones really tonight to be 0 for 0.
Fastball misses high right there from Fergalak. As this game is 1 of 3 in the SCBL tonight. A night full of baseball as the Mooresville Spinners travel down to the Friar at Charlotte High School to play the Queen City Corn Dogs. And the Uori Wampus Cats went to West Iredell High School to play the Statesville Owls. Swing and a miss right there. And Fergalak runs the count to 2-2. So Fergalak looks in, gets the sign from Santos behind the dish. 2-2 on the way. Swing and a miss right there from Hernandez. And that's Fergalak's first strikeout of the evening, but not before Michael Perry puts a big fly over the right center field fence and scores 2 runs in the process. Regulators lead 7-1. Be back here in just a moment. Josh Jones digs in the righty's batter's box, and he'll get things started here in the bottom half of the 4th inning as the Regulators put up a 2 spot in the 4th and now lead 7-1.
And for Jones, he doesn't need to get it going in the field. He doesn't need to get it going pitching. He needs to get it going at the plate hitting. He's been cold since the first game.
As yeah, he had a really good first game in that opening night win over the Disco Turkeys, but ever since has gone ice cold and 0 for 1 of the night so far. As Maxwell Moore struts out there for his 4th inning of work, and Eric, he's been just what the Regulators needed tonight. Reliable and safe.
Exactly.
Fastball's outside.
He's gotten himself into a couple of jams, but done a very, very, very good job of getting himself out of them, only allowing 1 run.
Yeah, 1 run and 4 strikeouts in the process. That one popped up. Byler looking for it. And we see Gibbs call him off, and that's out number 1 for you.
And 1 run on really 3 or 4 different runners in scoring position.
As that's been the Copperheads' kryptonite all season, Eric, is just runners left in scoring position, especially just runners left on base in general. As when a team loses a ball game, that's kind of one of the first stats that a manager looks at is runners left on base, and that can be the tipping point in a lot of ball games.
And for the Copperheads coaches, I know it's really hard to predict who's going to have a great game, but you do feel like they could maybe scatter some of their better, more hot hitters throughout that lineup. It seems like they stack it at the front, and then they run out of that hitting towards the end of the lineup.
The 1-0 misses outside from Moore, as we see the DH Matt Goldsitch up. (2-0) on the way. And he went right there. Runs the count to 2-1. 2-1 count, 1 out in the inning. The Regulators lead 7-1 here at Cox Mill High School. Fastball misses low. As we do see some more activity in that Copperheads bullpen. And a healthy hack right there from Goldsitch, and swings out of his helmet.
He's desperate to get a hit here. I'm sure he knows the situation he's in and how long it's been since he's gotten a hit this season and what his batting average is, and he needs one here.
And he might not get a hit, but he gets on base nonetheless to run up the OBP. And the Copperheads have a runner on with 1 out in the inning.
Now batting number 6.
And that brings in Lazaro Santos, who had an RBI single his first time up, drove in Connor Paul. And Santos was struggling coming into tonight, but tonight might be the night where he can flip things around. It's still very early in the season. As Eric, that's the thing that we see a lot of times from guys in the summer. If, they get to a cold start in the beginning stages of the summer, it can be, attributed to the fact that a lot of guys' college season, may have ended a month or so ago. So these guys are coming in almost cold turkey and having to warm themselves back up for the summer.
We've gotten now to the point in the season where they've gotten some at-bats, they've gotten some games, and especially with the teams rotating the guys in, you're now getting where you've had a sizable amount of plate appearances. It feels right that some of these guys are breaking their slumps now.
As Moore now with 4 straight balls right here, and the count's 3-0.
And for the Regulators, he's losing some of what they were really looking for. He's losing some of his control.
3-0 misses low, a 4-pitch walk, and Lazaro Santos reaches safely for the second time tonight. And yeah, coming back to that, Eric, I feel like it can be really attributed to the fact that he has a much longer leash now. With the Regulators building up that 7-1 lead, you can kind of have a more leeway as the Regulators pitching coach will have a chat with them, but you have to imagine the leash will be much longer now, holding that 6-run advantage. But you don't want to get to the point that you give the leash a little bit too long, and then you let it to be a 2 or 3-run ball game.
And for the Regulators, this is kind of valuable information you're learning here, too. You want to know how a guy bounces back. You want to know how a guy deals with a pickle, deals with a jam. You want to know these things, so it's nice that you have this leash to work with.
As the 10-hole hitter, Jacob Painter now up. As Painter got his first hit of the summer, much needed first hit of the summer in his first time up. And looking for back-to-back hits right here, as more than likely that would drive in Matt Goldstitch at second base as the Copperheads having to play from behind.
But if you're more in the Regulators, you don't want to deal with the Cardiac Copperheads if this game gets close.
As an ugly swing right there from Painter. He was full in the off speed. As, yeah, the Copperheads have been known to kind of leave the game till late and for better or for worse sometimes. 0-1. Fastball on the outside portion of the plate, and after 5 straight balls for Maxwell Moore, he gets 2 straight strikes.
That's the exact information you're looking for. You want to see how he bounces back? Well, he bounces back with 2 straight strikes.
So Moore looks at Goldstitch at second, 0-2, and fouled off, so Painter will stay alive.
So now if you're the coaching staff for the Regulators, you're writing down in your notes, Moore, tough situations. He can be used when there's 2 runners on base, bases are loaded. When there's a tough situation, Moore's your guy.
As Moore trying to find the put-away pitch right here, 0-2 on the way, and he'll get just that as Jacob Painter swings through the off-speed pitch for out number 2.
Now batting number 13.
As that's the 5th strikeout of the night for Maxwell Moore. And now flip over the lineup card to Luis Morales. 0 for 1 on the night with a strikeout and a walk. As he's been one of the better hitters so far this season in the league. Great fastball right there from Moore, and he jumps up at the count 0-1. Moore gathers. As Goldstitch will be going, the hit and run works to perfection. Poked in the right field, Perry will field it. Goldstitch will score. And we see Lazaro Santos advance to third as the hit and run worked to perfection.
And that's more of that Copperheads base running. They know when to send their runners, and they know when to use the hit and run, and they're doing it really well.
As that is Luis Morales' 9th hit of the season. Still no extra base hits, but gets an RBI in the process. That's his 2nd one of the season. And we'll have runners on the corners for Kill Ayler. Ayler first pitch swinging.
And with Morales' speed, you really don't have to worry about his lack of extra base hits. He'll get to second one way or another.
So Santos at third and Morales at first. And Ayler now down 0-2.
And something that coaching staffs have to be aware of with their pitchers is who can be in what situation. And with a limited pitching staff, it's something they got to consider.
Swing and a miss right there from Kill Ayler. And Maxwell Moore records his 6th strikeout of the evening. As the Copperheads get 1 back here in the bottom of the 4th inning, but the Regulators still hold a 7-2 advantage. Back here, top 5 on the way on the SCBL YouTube channel. back here, top of the 5th inning, as we see Mike Fergala back on the bump for the Copperheads. 0-1, and that's going to get him in the back right there. As Sam DeColo reaches for the 3rd time tonight, but still hasn't gotten a hit.
If Fergalok is had some control issues, hit a couple batters already here. He really needs to get this appearance in control and need a couple innings here for the Copperheads.
Yeah, I mean, he hit 3 batters in the last inning and then got DeColo in the back right there. Strike right there from Fergalak, and that brings in Ryan Pruitt, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast. He was a dangerous man on Wednesday night, a home run away from the cycle, and one of our co-player of the games. 0-1, misses outside. As we want to say thank you for spending your Friday evening with us, I'm Zane Metz and Eric Finley to my right. As if you're watching right now, make sure to subscribe to the SCBL YouTube channel while you're at it and turn on those post notifications to be alerted anytime that we go live. And then also follow us on Twitter and Instagram. That's at SCBL Baseball on both Twitter and Instagram. And then on that Instagram, we'll be posting final scores, game days, player of the weeks, and power rankings. Everything SCBL Baseball related will be on our Instagram.
Yeah, if you want to get to know your favorite players, that Instagram is a great place to be.
Chopped to Painter at second. And he'll have to fire to first, and that's a missed throw right there from Painter. And we'll see DeColo reach 3rd safely. That's kind of an interesting play right there. We see Pruitt reach on the error, but Painter got the ground ball over there at second base, was looking if he can get DeColo at second, looked over, decided he couldn't get him, and by the time he was trying to throw out Pruitt going down the first base line, he had to really fire it over there and cause an errant throw.
I think he thought that, well, Pruitt was zooming down the line, and Painter felt rushed and just rushed the throw is really all that happened there.
So runners on the corners, and Luke Baylor now up. And guess what? He'll get hit by a pitch for the 3rd time tonight, as he's been a magnet to the ball.
It might be crazy to say, but he might be wishing for a strikeout at this point. At least it means he doesn't get hit by the ball.
I mean, he might have a couple bruises in the morning. As
he epitomizes taking one for the team, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that once or twice that you get hit by a pitch, and in the morning you can see the stitching of the ball of where it got you, and Baylor might be a victim of that.
He'll know what brand of balls we use by the end of the night.
He'll have the SCBL logo imprinted on his back. Lance Vickers now up for the Regulators as he is 0 for 2 in the night, but bases loaded, no outs in the inning as the Regulators in danger of really kind of putting this game to rest very early on. Ball misses in the dirt. Good block right there from Santos as keeps DeColo at 3rd base. As Sam DeColo stands on 3rd, Ryan Pruitt at 2nd base, and Luke Baylor at 1st base. 1-1 count, no outs in the inning. That one gets on the outside portion of the plate for a strike. And now we have a 1-2 count.
And there's some action over there in the Copperheads bullpen, so there will probably be a pitching change here soon.
As we sound like a broken record with that action in the bullpen, as we see Vickers reach up for the upstairs fastball, and Fergalak gets his 2nd strikeout of the evening. And that brings in the 10-hole DH Chase Gable, who is 0 for 1 of the night, got hit by a pitch last time from Fergalak, and also got caught looking on a strikeout his first time up.
The Copperheads are just sending every one of the Regulators home with a tattoo tonight.
As a first pitch strike from Fergalak, and that's going to be crucial going forward, not only for Fergalak, but kind of the rest of these Copperheads pitchers just getting ahead earlier in the count. That first pitch strike, as when you get that first pitch strike, you're more likely to strike the guy out and just get the guy out in general statistically. And what's better than a first pitch strike, 2 strikes back-to-back, and Fergalak now up 0-2. As we see Gable now step out of the box and try to break Fergalak's rhythm on the bump. 0-2. And the dirt right there. Good work from Santos.
I mean, that's what Hagler was doing really good early in his start until the wheels just kind of fell off.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we see pitchers when they get in that rhythm on the bump, they want to go, go, go. as that one is popping to the screen. And sometimes the best thing that you can do as a batter is just when that pitcher comes set, raise your hand, take a time, and try to break that rhythm of the pitcher on the bump. Fergalak looks in. 1-2 on the way. Fastball misses up and in. 2-2 count now.
But for the Copperheads, they're going to be looking for a machine somewhere in the world that can give them about 10 different copies of Brock Graff. He's been their best pitcher so far this season for sure.
As he's available tonight, but only if you need to come in for a save situation. As the 2-2 just misses, runs the count full. And Fergalak needs to strike here or in danger of walking DeColo home.
The Cardiac Copperheads would have to strike quite early for a Brock Graff save situation to be in order.
3-2 popped up as we see Paul tracking to his left. And he can't get there. So the count will stay full. 3-2 count, 1 out in the inning. Regulators Baseball Club lead the Copperheads 7-2. Fergalak looks in, comes set, 3-2 on the way. Swing and a miss right there from Chase Gable, and a much-needed strikeout right there from Fergalak. Back-to-back batters, back-to-back strikeouts.
Ryan Hines.
And that brings back up Ryan Hines for the 4th time tonight in the top half of the 5th inning. So Ryan Hines, I mean, he's on pace for what, 6 or 7 at-bats tonight.
And if he could do some stuff with those at-bats, his on-base percentage and batting average could go through the roof tonight.
As he is 0 for 3 tonight, reached on an error, a strikeout, and a double play. As that one is to the third baseman, Armstrong. And what a play right there from the third baseman. It's called the hot corner for a reason. As you're going to have your head on a swivel when Armstrong makes the diving play. Mike Fergalak gets out of a jam, and the Regulators' lead stays at 7-2. So we're back here. Thank you for joining us on a Friday evening. We hope you stick with us for some more SCBL baseball action. Isaac Armstrong now up as we see 3-4-5 due up for the Copperheads as they have some work to do. Down by 5. It's a 7-2 ball game. As Armstrong has struck out both times tonight, he's had fits with Maxwell Moore on the bump. 1-0.
For Armstrong, you start to wonder if it becomes a pattern with lefties. He struggled the other night until he had that one great hit against the last lefty he faced, I believe.
And now down to the count 1-2. As Armstrong made that diving play at third base to retire Ryan Hines and get out of a jam. I mean, the Copperheads had bases loaded, no outs in the inning, got out of a jam. But right there we see Isaac Armstrong strike out for the 3rd time tonight, having some difficulties.
Now batting number 24, Hayden Haywood.
And for the Copperheads batters, if they don't put these runs up in the next couple innings, the coaching staff is going to have to stop throwing arms into this game. They can't chase it for much longer.
As Maxwell Moore on the bump for the Regulators has been just what they needed tonight. As We see back-to-back games now that the starter for the Regulators working deep, as we saw Harrison Lombardi work deep in the game over the Spinners, and now Moore's doing much of the same. 1-1 count, 1 out in the inning. Ball misses outside.
And I think for SCBL coaches, that's your preferred strategy. If you can get guys who can go deep into games, that'll alleviate the stresses of a shorter or smaller pitching staff.
2-1, misses outside. Three 1 count, 1 out in the inning as Moore digs back into the rubber, working out of the windup. And will Gray take your 5-pitch walk? I mean, Caden Haywood take your 5-pitch walk as he reaches for the second time tonight.
If you have to nitpick Moore at all, it might be his walks. He's walked a couple batters tonight, but that's really been his only flaw.
So Haywood stands on first base, and Will Gray now up for the Copperheads as he's 0 for 2 in the night. Moore looks at Haywood at first, fires home, misses outside, and that's one of the advantages Moore has on the bump, being that a lefty presence is those runners on first base have to stay a little closer to the bag as they have to be aware of the pickoff move. 1-1. Swung on down the third baseline, and that gets past Trey Hernandez. As we see Haywood will stay at second base, and Will Gray reaches safely for the first time tonight on a single.
And for Gray there, that's not his usual spot, and I don't think Hernandez expected him to get it down there. But all he had to do was just poke it pretty softly down that third base line and get a single.
Yeah, I mean, he just kind of reached his bat out there and tiptoed down that, foul line. And that brings in Connor Paul, who's 1 for 2 in the night.
And now you got a speedy guy on second that Moore can't really see.
Up and in fastball for a strike right there from Moore as we see someone warming up in that Regulators bullpen, not throwing any balls yet, just warming up with those J-bands. 0-1. Swung on down the left field line and foul, and that's over towards the parking lot to our left.
And Paul, he's got the power. If he could put his barrel to it, this game could be wide open. This game could be much different.
Copperheads trail by 5, but things can change in an instant in the SCBL. We've seen that so many times this season. 0-2. Swung on, and that's to Hernandez at third. Scoops it, fires it across the infield. And we see Connor Paul go down by way of a fielder's choice, but moves both runners up 90 feet.
Now batting number 30.
I was half expecting for that one to just fall out of his glove. We've seen a lot of guys misfield those slower balls. A lot of third basemen misfield those balls, those slower balls rolling to them. We've seen it a lot this season, especially here at Cox Mill High School.
That brings in Josh Jones, and struggling so far this season and struggling tonight, 0 for 2, but a good chance to get something going here with 2 outs.
And for Jones, he steps up to be the hero when he's needed, and now is the time. They need him right here and right now.
Up at the count 1-0, and make that 2-0. So we see Caden Haywood standing on third, and Will Gray at second base. 2-0 from Moore. Swing and a miss right there from Jones as he swung through that fastball. Two-one on the way. As that one into center field, Pruitt going to his left. And that'll be out number 3. So Maxwell Moore keeping things on lock for the Regulators. Copperhead strand 2 as the Regulators Baseball Club still lead 7-2 here at Cox Mill High School. Stick with us on the SCBL YouTube channel for some more baseball. New pitcher into the game for the Lake Norman Copperheads. That coming by way of Jacob Painter, and Jack Lopez will be your new second baseman.
Number 1, Jack Lopez.
2-3-4 due up for the Regulators here as Painter will have to face the meat of the order.
Painter pitched 1 inning this year. He struck out 2 batters in that appearance.
And the Copperheads will need him to keep this game close right here. First pitch of his evening is up and in for a ball.
And Zane, that makes sense why we're seeing a lot of that action in the bullpen while the Copperheads were hitting, not while they were in the field, because it was Painter warming up in the bullpen.
1-0. Swung on, back the middle. Painter can't make the play. Morales can't make it either. And we'll see Brandon Gibbs reach on an infield single. And Painter will have to be worried about his legs as he stole a base his last time on base. And we'll see how Painter managed with that. And Cooper Hertz now up for the Regulators. Says he hit an RBI single to drive Gibbs in.
Cooper Hertz.
And for the Copperheads infielders and outfielders, they really need to be focused here now. With what seemingly is going to be two-way pitchers going forward, they're going to see more ground balls and more pop-outs.
Painter fires back to first, but not in time. Is anybody watching at home with any comments or questions? Make sure to drop them in the chat below. We're happy to answer any comments you guys have or just any thoughts. As that one is into center field, Josh Jones camping under it. And that'll be a can of corn for out number 1. So Hertz pops out, and that'll bring in Michael Perry, as Perry hit a 2-run bomb in his last time up, and we'll be looking to do much of the same here.
And for Painter here, not the guy you want to face. A guy who's already homered tonight. He'll be looking to send another one out of the park.
As Perry's homer was into right center field, kind of a slice on it, and just snuck over the wall. Pitch from Painter misses high.
The home run by Perry, very similar to the one that Buffaletta hit for the Corn Dogs when Gunter and I were broadcasting on Wednesday night.
As the throw down a second from Santos, it'll be a close one, but won't be in time. Brandon Gibbs steals his second bag of the night, showing off the speed in the 2-hole slot. Yeah, I mean, Harrison Beaudelet, one of the best guys in the SCBL year in and year out, came in last year for the Corn Dogs, was one of the leaders in the home run category and already this year, as he hit a home run against the Regulators early this season and hit a whole solo home run against the Copperheads.
Yeah, and for him, he has 3 home runs now on the season. He's hit a home run in every game he's played in.
As the Corn Dogs not faring very well tonight against the Spinners, as the Spinners are up 11-0 in the 4th inning. 2-0, that one is chopped down the left field line, but will be foul.
Looks like the Corn Dogs are getting cooked in their own fryer tonight.
You could say that indeed. As the Spinners have battered them up and just cooked them, as the Corn Dogs, kind of surprising, coming in as, you have to believe, one of the favorites this season, but some struggles. As Gibbs stands on second. 2-1 count. Good outside fastball right there from Jacob Painter.
And Gibbs, he's done well on the bases tonight.
Yeah, 2 stolen bags, and you have to believe any ball hit into the outfield will, be another RBI. That one swung to the shortstop, Morales. He fields it, has a little trouble, has to hurry, and gets him in time. So Perry goes down for the second time tonight, and now bring in Trey Hernandez.
As a whole, the Copperheads, they really need to work on their fielding. The whole season, really, they've had some bobbles. They've let balls through. The catchers are probably feeling like they've been making good throws to the second baseman, but the second baseman's really haven't been putting down those tags on those runners stealing.
Hernandez is 0 for 1 of the night, has been walked, been hit by a pitch, and struck out. And watches a first pitch fastball go by him. Regulators still hold a 7-2 advantage. Fastball misses high right there from Painter. Count moves to 1-1, so Gibbs at second being held on by Lopez, the new second baseman, into the game. Gibbs with a massive lead. He'll be going Santos, throw down to third, and he gets some. What a throw from Lazaro Santos. Brandon Gibbs left in shock, but nonetheless out number 3 in the inning as Gibbs got a good jump on it, but the throw from Santos was better. As the Regulators lead will stay at 7-2. We'll be back here in just a moment from Coxville High School. Bottom half of the 6th inning, the Regulators still lead 7-2. As Jack Lopez will dig in for the first time tonight.
Against a new pitcher, Colin Slivka.
Yes, he'll be replacing Jacob Painter.
No, or Moore. He'll be replacing Moore for the Regulators.
As Slivka from Oakton Community College. As that one is roped up the middle. We see Pruitt coming in on it, and that one's going to drop.
Oh, yes, you're right. Lopez does replace Painter for the Copperheads. Slivka replaces Moore for the Regulators.
So Lopez comes off the bench and gets a single, and they'll flip the lineup card over to Luis Morales. So a good chance here for the Copperheads to get things going here, trail by 5. And they have a guy up that already has an RBI on the night, that being Morales.
Actually, that looks like Santos is up to bat.
That one misses in the dirt.
Santos has done well tonight to break that slump.
One-0. Misses outside. So the 2-0 on the way, and that misses once more, so Slivka with some control issues here early.
And the Copperheads are going to be looking to do some damage on this righty. You know, reintroduce that aggressive base running, especially from first base now, and really get back into this ball game.
3-0 on the way, as that one is grounded to Hines at shortstop. Flips it over to Gibbs and can't turn two, but Morales will reach on a fielder's choice.
Now batting number 8, Jacob Painter.
They took out him.
So, excuse me, that was Lazaro Santos. So, we see Jack Lopez replace Matt Goldstitch in the DH spot, and Jacob Painter is still up. Sorry for the confusion. 0-1 count as Lopez stands on first base. Excuse me, Santos stands on first. As swing and a miss right there. Throw down to first. And gets in there safely by just a whisker. As Santos might be lucky to still standing on first.
Exactly. I mean, for Santos, he thought, oh, righty in the game, I could take a bigger lead. But Slivka said not so fast and almost got him.
0-2 count. As that one is swung on to Baylor at first base. And can they turn two? No, they can't. That ball gets past the first baseman, Baylor. As Santos will go back to the dugout. And we'll see Jacob Painter go to second as that ball was ruled out of play.
Number 13, Luis Morales.
So Painter now stands on second, and now we see Luis Morales up for the Copperheads.
And Morales not usually one to drive in a runner from second, but right now they really need it.
As the Copperheads in a 5-run deficit. Morales with already an RBI on the night. And Jacob Painter standing on second. One 0 from Slivka. Inside. Two-0 on the way. And that was swung on, and Gibbs off the outstretched mitt. We'll see Painter coming around third, and he will score as we have a 7-3 ball game. What a hard-hit ball from Luis Morales, and that's his second RBI of the evening.
And I was just thinking, Slivka looks gettable tonight, and Morales does get the runner in from second.
As that one was an absolute shot right there from Morales. And good effort right there from Gibbs, just off the tip of the glove.
Yeah, Gibbs almost too fast for his own good on that play.
And that brings in Cale Ayler. As Ayler 0 for 2 in the night.
Yeah, Ayler, he's
Fastball
been
miss.
up and down this season, but he's had his moments when he's been on. He's been really good.
Yeah, I mean, the first pitch of the night that he faced, it was a fastball to the shoulder, but had that crucial hit in the Copperheads win over the Statesville Owls earlier in the season, that go-ahead hit. 1-0. That one swung on, popped over the screen, and foul.
And I wonder how that start that didn't go his way is weighing on his mind still.
Yeah, I mean, you can't imagine too much as, you know, he's a position player by trade, thrown out there on the bump, pitched some for Brevard, not much, couple innings or so, pitched in high school. But, you know, just going to have to put it past you and, you know, look, you know, forward to the rest of the summer. 1-1, swung on, popped over the screen once again, and we'll run the count to 1-2. So Slivka looks in. Luis Morales being held on by Byler at first. 1-2 on the way. As good two-seam fastball right there, but misses the zone. So it's a 7-3 ball game now as the Copperheads chipping away slowly but surely.
And unfortunately for the A's, they never were able to turn that explosive game against the Copperheads into more wins.
That one misses outside. Three-two count, 2 outs in the inning.
Yeah, Ayler's done a good job in this at bat, fighting off pitches and running this count full.
As the full count pitch is now on the way. Runner will be going as that fastball just misses outside, and Ayler reaches for the second time tonight.
Now batting, number 4.
And like the Copperheads do, they realized it was 2 outs, and they're swinging the bats well.
And that brings in a man that hasn't been swinging the bat well so far tonight. Isaac Armstrong struck out 3 times, very unlike him, as he's one of the best hitters on this Copperheads roster. As that one runs inside and almost gets him. I mean,
But if you can say one thing about Armstrong, he does well when he's due.
yeah, I mean, he came into the game batting .333, hit a home run against the Spinners, 0 for 3 on the night, but a great chance to turn things around. He's been great on the defensive side of the ball. You have to say that, though. 1-0. Fouled off.
Showing off the power on that foul ball.
Yeah, I mean, that went over the light pole.
If he scored that one up, that ball was gone.
So Morales stands at second. Ayler at first, 1-1 count. Morales toying with Slivka on the bump a little bit. Misses in the dirt. Did he go? No, he did not.
Good job there by Armstrong holding back.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a tough pitch to hold back, especially after, you feel like you had pieced up a ball, hit it foul last time, but keeps the bat on his shoulder and moves the count to 2-1.
I hope he's looking for that same pitch again.
Slivka fires home. That one blooped into left field. That ball is going to get down. Morales rounds 3. He'll be going home. Ayler rounds 2. He'll be advancing to third base. And Isaiah Armstrong with a RBI double.
And you have to believe there he found that pitch again.
Yeah, I mean, Isaac Armstrong just blooped that one into left field and gets the job done. And the Cardiac Copperheads flirting with coming back in this game now, as it's a 7-5 game. Excuse me, 7-4 game. But the Copperheads with a chance to add 2 more runs to their tally with 2 runners in scoring position. After a mound visit right there, trying to calm down Colin Slivka. And Caden Haywood now up for the 4th time tonight.
And for the Regulators, I think it was a good call to start a lefty, especially looking down the lineup for the Copperheads, because they're really getting after this righty that they put on in relief.
As Haywood already with a single so far tonight. As Slivka has had some difficulties coming out of the bullpen here. And looks like another high-scoring affair is on the way. 0-1, slider misses outside.
High scoring is Copperheads baseball, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's SCBL baseball so far this summer, that's for sure. 1-1 from Slivka. And he fires home a strike.
But for Haywood, he's had a pretty good first game. Having gone through, what, 4 games now, 6 games now, having not played?
Slivka now 1 strike away from getting out of a jam. 1-2 on the way. Swing and a miss right there. Gets him on the slider, and a nasty one at that. First time tonight, Caden Haywood strikes out. And the Copperheads leave 2 runners in scoring position But to get some back at the inning, they still trail 7-4 as the top half of the 7th inning is on the way at Coxmo High School. Back here, top half of the 7th inning, as Trey Hernandez is due up for the Regulators. As Copperheads got one back, makes an interesting 7-4 ball game, Eric.
Yes, it does. They're going to look to keep runs off the board. If they can keep this close, they can maybe move into a traditional closer to move into the end of this ball game.
As that one is chopped, Luis Morales will come in on it. Tough play and can't get it. As we see Trey Hernandez leg out an infield single.
Credit to Luis Morales there, at least, for fielding that ball better. He's bobbled a couple here.
So Hernandez standing on first, and Sam DeColo now up as he is 0 for 0 on the night, walked twice, and has gotten hit once.
Now batting number 16, Sam DeColo.
He's getting his steps in for sure.
As he's walked 90 feet to first base 3 times now. Jacob Painter out for a second inning of work as he did just what the Copperheads needed last time. As that one is roped into left field and right at Will Gray. Unfortunate right there from DeColo as he had some good contact on that ball, but right at the left fielder Gray.
And DeColo probably hoping Will Gray, not an outfielder by trade, would maybe make an error there.
Ryan Pruitt now up for the Regulators. A righty on lefty matchup as Hernandez still stands on first. Swung on, that's in the right field. Haywood coming in on it. That one's going to get caught. The play at second, double him up right there. As a 6-3 double, a 9-3 double play right there. Something you don't see very often as Hernandez got caught cheating off the bat a little bit too much. And Haywood keeps him honest.
Haywood showing off the quarterback arm there.
As
that was a touchdown throw.
Yeah, that's for sure. And he gets Hernandez at first base. The lead stays 7-4 for the Regulators. 7th inning stretch on the way here at Coxmo High School. Will Gray up for the Copperheads as 5-6-7 due up here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. As Colin Slivka out once again for the Regulators. As Eric, the Copperheads were piecing up Slivka a little bit in his first inning of work.
Yes, they are. They're knocking on the door a little bit here. They're going to see what kind of mental toughness Slivka has.
As the Copperheads have shown great mental toughness this season, as they've saved games to the later portions to really, show their skill. As Will Gray, he singled his last time up and is 1 for 3 on the night.
And for the Copperheads, I mean, a 3-run deficit really doesn't feel like a lot to them. They'll just keep hitting. They'll keep swinging the bat, getting those singles, doubles, RBIs until they're right back in a ball game. And for the Regulators, before you know it, this game might fall by the wayside.
Slivka working out of the windup. 1-2 on the way. Good take right there from Gray. Runs the count even.
And for Slivka, you can't get behind in counts. That's where the Copperhead batters thrive.
2-2 swung on by Gray. Popped up and foul.
That's another one over the light post.
Slivka steps on the bump. And now digs back in. 2-2 on the way. Swung on by Gray, and he's a warrior up there, just keeps fighting off these pitches.
He's doing what he does best, that's for sure.
Count stays even at 2-2. We'll try it once more. And that one just misses. Count runs full, and Gray might be lucky to see another day. Full count pitch. Swung on, that's chopped as we see Hines coming in on it. Tough play, fires across the infield. And we see Will Gray get in there safely as Luke Byler just couldn't catch it. And another leadoff single for the Copperheads.
And surprisingly enough, Gray doesn't have any walks this season, but that might just be because of how great contact he makes. Plays like that where he just makes a chop ball into the infield and beats it out at first.
That brings up Connor Paul.
Now batting.
1 for 3 on the night.
Connor Paul.
And Eric, I mean, the innings that the Copperheads have scored runs, we've noticed that in those innings, they've kind of got the first 1 or 2 guys on, and that's led to later successes in the inning.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly how the Copperheads play. And sometimes it's from an error, and sometimes it's from a single like that, or sometimes it's from a walk hit by pitch. However it is, if they get a couple runners on, a couple aggressive base, couple like stolen bases, aggressive base running, then it sets up where one of those singles or a double scores a runner, and that's exactly what they're best at.
1-0 from Slivka. Swung on, that's to the shortstop, Hines. 6. Oh, he misses it. As Hines can make the play, as we'll see Paul reach on an error, as I was about to count off 6-4-3 double play potentially right there, but we'll get no outs and now 2 runners on.
And I truly don't know what happened there. He kind of just dropped the ball.
Yeah, it looked like, I mean, he fielded it fine, but it looked like on kind of the carryover to try to throw that one, he lost the ball and lost it on the transition. That brings up Josh Jones.
Maybe a little extra dirt or something on that ball.
Yeah, as we do see some more activity in that Regulators bullpen. Ball gets past Hertz. Both runners will advance up 90 feet. And the Cardiac Copperheads get things going here in the bottom half of the 7th inning.
It's just that pattern that starts to form. A couple base runners get on, an error or a single, some aggressive base running, or a wild pitch. And here we're in a situation where there's no outs, 2 runners in scoring position, and now you've got 2 chances now to get these 2 runners home.
As Hertz will have a chat with Slivka on the bump. So we have a 7-4 ball game, bottom of the 7th inning. As we see Will Gray standing at third base, Connor Paul at second base. And some activity in that Regulators bullpen, maybe trying to buy some time for whoever that is in the bullpen. As Slivka with just not his best step tonight, Eric.
No, definitely not. And for the Copperheads here, they're thinking we get one more guy on base, and now every guy on base represents a tying run. Represents a run that'll tie the game.
So Josh Jones in need of a hit right here. 0 for 3 on the night, really struggling on the season, but no better time than the present to do so. 1-0 on the way. That one's chopped. And to Gibbs at second base as he decides just to flip it over to Byler. As Josh Jones, he'll get marked down for an RBI, and Will Gray reaches home safely.
And for Jones, who's not hitting the best, just to get an RBI there is probably going to be a big boost for his confidence.
Yeah, I mean, Gibbs fielded that ball, and by the time he looked at Will Gray traveling down the third base line, it was too late. And that brings in Jack Lopez as he replaced Matt Goldsich in the DH spot and got a single his first time up.
And for Lopez, he's been clutch this season.
As that one is chopped to Hernandez at third. He'll make the play, fire across the diamond, and that will be missed by the first baseman Byler. As we'll see Connor Paul reach home safely. As, ladies and gentlemen, we have a run ball game. As a very crazy turn of events right there. Hernandez fielded it good, fired across the diamond, but Byler couldn't make the catch at first base.
And good job by Lopez. He stayed in his running lane, but he used all of it and made that ball very tough to field for the first baseman.
So it's a 7-6 ball game, and Eric, I mean, this game looked like it was going to get out of hand early, and now we have a great ball game.
It's the Cardiac Copperheads. They keep it interesting right until the end.
So Jack Lopez will be on first base, and Lazaro Santos, and now up for Lake Norman.
Number 6.
And if you're the Copperheads, you might like a couple innings of Brock Graff just to seal a win here if you take the lead.
Yeah, but first you got to take the lead. That's the most important part.
And for Santos, a perfect situation here. You've broken the slump, but if you want to turn that slump into momentum, you need to advance this runner into scoring position and get yourself on base to try to take the lead here.
Yeah, I mean, Santos came into this ball game in a slump, had a single his first time up that drove in a run, and also walked tonight. Slivka misses, count now 1-0 to Santos. Slivka comes set, 1-0 on the way. Good breaking pitch right there and hits the upper portion of the zone.
A good take there by Santos early in the count. Not the pitch you need to swing at.
1-1 count, 1 out in the inning. Copperheads trail by 1. Fastball misses high.
It looked like Slivka there was trying to go right back to the well on that high fastball and just missed it a little bit.
2-1 count now. Lopez still at first. Slivka fires home. And the off-speed just misses. Count runs to 3-1. And you got to imagine, as Slivka walks Santos right here, that's going to be all for his night.
Yeah, I would believe so. You can't risk giving up the lead here. If you have a guy who you think can get out of this jam, you put him in now.
Slivka comes set. 3-1 on the way. And gets a much-needed strike on the outside portion of the zone.
And with a full count, the reason you're keeping him in is you're hoping to maybe turn a double play here.
3-2 count, 1 out in the inning. Copperheads trail 7-6. It's been a great ball game so far. Strike 3 looking right there. Slivka gets a much-needed fastball on the outside portion of the zone. And Santos walks back in the home dugout in disbelief.
And for Santos, you really hope that doesn't take the wind out of his sails, because you really thought he made some strides tonight in the way he's been playing at the plate.
As Jacob Painter now up, batting in the 10-hole position tonight, and has got out of a slump, got his first hit of the summer, and looking to do further damage here.
He's another one who needs to now break the slump and now turn it into momentum, and another perfect opportunity to do so.
Slivka kind of trying to get out of a jam here. That one chopped down the third base line and foul. Is a tough outing so far from Slivka, and trying not to make things go from bad to worse.
For sure. An interesting decision by the Regulators, putting their faith in Slivka here in this pivotal situation. You wonder if maybe those guys in the bullpen aren't ready yet.
1-1 on the way. Swung on to left center field. Pruitt going over to it. And he'll corral it for out number 3. So Copperheads put up a couple runs here in the bottom half of the 7th inning and make it a 1-run ball game. 7-6 game here at Coxville High School. Top half of the 8th inning on the way. Make sure to stick with us. It's going to be a tight finish going down the stretch. Back here, top of the 8th inning, as we have a pinch hitter in the game for the Regulators, that being Colin Curry. As he'll be coming in for the EH Lance Vickers. Curry from Norfolk State.
Hails from Bedford, Texas. Another Texas guy on this Regulators lineup.
As it looks like the Regulators coaching staff is just getting that situated with the umpires with that pinch hitter change. So, Eric, it's a 7-8 ball game here. Regulators lead. The Regulators got up to an early lead, but Copperheads striking back here. What's to expect in the final 2 innings of play?
Well, I think for the Copperheads, they're going to keep being aggressive on the base paths. They're going to try to keep getting hits. And for their pitching, I don't know what to expect here. I believe if Painter can go maybe another this inning at least scoreless, they'll probably throw in a closer to close it out if they can take the lead. But if they can't take the lead, then they will probably more so go to a conceding type situation, or at least give it up to the home half hitting.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the Copperheads give it up to the home half hitting at home so far this season twice, and twice of those being walk-offs. As now we see both teams coming up, both teams' managers, and discussing that pinch hit. As maybe you can't pinch hit for an extra hitter or something of that sort, but it's taken a mighty long time.
But for the Copperheads, if they take the lead, I expect a closer. If they don't, I wouldn't be surprised if they just try to win it in the 9th with their bats.
As the pitcher getting some warm-up tosses in, and it'll still be Painter on the bump, but it's just some confusion up here on kind of all the fine details.
Now batting number 9, Luke Baylor.
As Luke Baylor is up, as he's the 8-hole hitter. So the bottom half of the order due up here for the Regulators, Eric, 8, 9, 10, and they'll set up a very interesting 9th inning.
For sure.
Swing and a miss right there from Baylor. As we'll see Braden come in as a pinch hitter next at bat, coming in for Lance Vickers. Strike on the outside portion of the plate. 0-2 count now. As Braden Moore will be that pinch hitter. 0-2. Misses outside from Painter. One, two. Reaches in, and that's going to get Baylor. So Painter was up in the count. 1-2. And Eric, guess how many times Baylor's been hit tonight?
Every time.
4
he's been at the
times.
bat,
Yeah. Every single time that Luke Baylor has stepped into the box, he's been hit. As I'm convinced now, there's a magnet in the center of his back. I mean, there no
There's
other
gotta
way.
be something.
So Braden Moore will be replacing Lance Vickers in the EH spot. As Moore from Florence Darlington Tech, as they had quite the season in the JUCO scene, made the JUCO World Series, and lost. And I mean, they were probably the only final 3 or 4 teams left in the JUCO World Series out in Colorado. As that one is fouled off the top of the screen.
So it looks like for the Regulators here, they're looking to go to a guy who has experience in late game situations. You know, the pressure's on, got to keep a lead or take a lead, and that's why they're putting him into the ball game.
Yeah, I mean, the Regulators trying to maintain that 1-run lead as we speak. 0-1, that one is chopped to Lopez at second. 4-6, and the 3 won't happen. But the Copperheads, that's good enough for them as they get a fielder's choice. And the first out of the inning.
And Painter does a good job there, shaking off that hit by a pitch, or hitting a batter, and now getting that first out of the inning.
As Colin Curry will be replacing Chase Gable in the DH spot. Gable was 0 for 2 in the night. And Curry looking for new beginnings, as Curry from Bedford, Texas. The 6'3", 205 junior plays his ball at Norfolk State. As Curry swinging a miss through his first pitch he sees of the night. Regulators lead 7-6, top half of the 8th inning here, 1 out. Fastball misses high.
And then as it's gotten dark, it's gotten kind of cool tonight. It's a little chill to the air.
Yeah, I mean, better than, blazing heat is kind of what we saw in the earlier stages of the day. 1-1.
But for the batters, that ball won't fly as far, so they'll have to be careful of that.
That's for sure, as the fastball from Painter just paints the outside portion of the strike zone, and we move to a 1-2 count. Fastball misses. 2-2 count now.
This is an important pitch right here. Getting that second out of the inning would be huge for Painter. It really put him in the driver's seat going into what is it, the 8th? The 9th?
Bottom of the 8th.
Bottom of the
2-2.
8th.
As that one is popped up, foul. Count will stay at 2-2. So we've seen a heavy dose of fastballs in this at-bat from Painter. You have to imagine going to a little bit of off-speed stuff here.
Or at least changing up the location a little bit. You got to do something to keep the hitters guessing.
2-2, as that one is lined through the gap for a single, as Colin Curry comes up, and his first at-bat is a good one. And that put things to the top half of the order, as the leadoff man Ryan Hines up for the 5th time tonight, but he's 0 for 4 in the night. So not what you want off your leadoff guy, but 2 runners on, 1 out here in the top half of the 8th. No better time than the present to get things going for Hines.
Yeah, one of the few batters really in the game from both sides that hasn't done well. It's been a good hitting night for both sides.
That one just misses from Painter.
Both sides have made some hitting changes, some pinch hitters, and they've worked out pretty well for them.
1-0, as that one is to Morales at shortstop. 6-4. Can they get the 3? Yes, they do. What a play right there. Luis Morales flips over to Lopez at second, fires it to Paul at first base, and the Copperheads get out of yet another jam, as Jacob Painter has been just what they needed coming out of the bullpen. Bottom half of the 8th inning, Copperheads down to their final 6 outs of the evening. It's a 7-6 ball game here at Cox Mill High School. Back here, bottom of the 8th inning, Copperheads trail 7-6. And Eric, what better guys to get a rally going for the Copperheads than 1, 2, 3 do up here in the bottom half of the 8th inning?
I can't think of anyone, especially in the lineup tonight.
As Luis Morales watches that one going for a strike. Morales came into this affair 2nd in the league in average. And he has 2 hits on the night. And it's crazy to think about Morales, as that one is into deep right field, but will get down. As Eric was alluding to, Morales, he's batting .666 on the night, and that's only a little bit over a tick of what his batting average is on the season, around the .560 mark.
It's crazy. He's playing out of his mind. That's just all you can say. He's one of the best on the team, if not the best hitter on the team, and he's proving to be one of the best hitters in the league as well.
But Morales will have to dig himself out of a hole. He's down 0-2 right here. Watches that one go in for a ball.
I mean, really, the only other people that you can think of that you might want are Frelick and Louis Hill. Those 2 guys have been kind of your clutch guys and orchestrated some comebacks before.
1-2, that's going to be chopped and foul. As that one just got foul, but probably fortunate for Morales. So
And sometimes the comeback comes from unexpected places.
We've seen that many times this season from many teams. 1-2 on the way. Morales chops that one down the third baseline and foul. So Morales just kind of sticking around, staying alive until a pitch that he sees, and hopefully he'll rip it.
No, Aiden Kwan, an example, the other night against the Corn Dogs, he was a large part of that comeback. Got his first hit of the season and had a really great night.
1-2, misses outside. Count now at 2-2. As what a game it's been so far. Misses outside. Count runs full, so Morales was down to 0-2, now 3-2.
Yeah, he's done a great job battling back into this count and getting into full counts like this, even after being down in the count. That's how you get an average like he has.
And he'll run up that on-base percentage. He reaches safely for the 4th time tonight. As you look up, your leadoff guy in the dictionary, Luis Morales comes up.
Exactly. Pitchers pitch scared to him, but it's kind of hard because you don't want him on base. You don't want to walk him either.
And that brings in Cale Ayler. 0-2 on the night. He's been hit by a pitch and walked. As Ayler hit the go-ahead run to win the game over the Statesville Owls earlier in the season, and a good chance to get another late game heroics right here.
I was about to say, no matter what type of night Ayler's having, he's not the guy that you want up in a clutch situation. if you're the pitcher, because he is a very good clutch situation type of guy.
As that one is in the left field, Sam DeColo getting under it, and will catch it for out number 1. So Ayler first pitch swinging and pops out for the 3rd time tonight.
It's just a little off on his contact there was all. Got a little under it. If you could have had that with a little bit more of a line drive type flight on it, that could have been really good for the Copperheads.
As now bringing Isaac Armstrong. He's 1 for 4 in the night, but had that RBI stand-up double his last time to the plate. Armstrong watches that go by for a ball. So Slivka looks over Morales at first. 1-0 on the way. As that one is lined down the third baseline. That ball is fair. Morales rounding 2, Armstrong rounding 1. Morales is going to be going home. He routes third. Will we have a play at the plate? No, we will not. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a tied ball game. Stand-up double from Isaac Armstrong. Ice in his veins. Back-to-back ABs. Back-to-back stand-up double RBIs. As he's showing off why he had that 9.5 PG grade and showing off why he's batting the 3-hole tonight for the Copperheads. What a clutch piece of hitting from Armstrong.
And really just a puzzling decision to leave in Slivka this long. It seems like that a guy ready to go to start this inning, and yet they put out Slivka to start the inning.
Yeah, and especially after you walk Morales in the first batter, you think that would be okay. You know, Slivka, your night's done. But maybe too little too late as the Copperheads with a runner in scoring position and only 1 out in the inning. Caden Hayward will be due up, new pitcher to the game for the Regulators. As they'll take a break, we'll take a break. We'll be right back in just 1 moment. All eyes on Caden Haywood as the go-ahead run is standing 180 feet away for the Lake Norman Copperheads. And Ian Hernandez will be the new pitcher to the game for the Regulators Baseball Club. As Hernandez from Granger, Indiana, 6'2", 185 sophomore from Marietta College. And get on the same page as his catcher, Cooper Hertz. So, Eric, you kind of dubbed this team the Cardiac Copperheads, and we're seeing it once again. They, keep it to the later stages of the game to really, pull out these wins.
Yeah, and it's what's working for them. I don't know why or how, but that's how they're playing, and that's when their bats get hot. But at some point, they need a dominant win.
We have a 1-0 count.
And if you're the Copperheads here, you got to be looking to warm up a closer to really hold on to, if you get the lead, to hold on to this lead.
1-0 pitch in the dirt.
Even an inning of Luke Graff, you could probably use him again tomorrow, and he'd be okay.
2-1. In there. So we see Isaac Armstrong standing on second after that clutch RBI double.
And with Armstrong's speed, it'll really only take something deep to the, or pretty, only middle of the outfield to get him home.
Low and in the dirt. As we see Hernandez come into the game for the Regulators with some control issues early.
Yeah, the Regulators pitchers, they've had some control issues, and that's usually where the success starts for the Copperheads, when they get ahead in the count.
3-1 from Hernandez. As that one right at the Copperheads dugout. Watch out. As kind of an interesting loadout here at Coxville High School. Normally the home dugout is to the left, but here it's at the right as you have those batting cages to your right here. Full count pitch on the way from Hernandez. Low and in the dirt. Take your base, Caden Haywood. And that makes things even more interesting. And that brings in a very dangerous man, Will Gray, up to bat. As Gray back-to-back singles and back-to-back at-bats.
Yeah, and he's having a great game tonight. The only thing really that this Copperheads lineup is missing tonight is really a deep ball threat. If they had one, this would be a great time to use it.
As Will Gray, one of those returning Copperheads from last summer, and one of the better hitters on that Copperheads team, as he's first pitch swinging foul. So we have an 0-1 count. Isaac Armstrong on second base. Caden Haywood at first. It's a 7-7 ball game, bottom half of the 8th inning. Thank you for spending your Friday evening with us, and this game has been a dandy to watch.
And what's impressed me about the Copperheads this season is they've only needed one home run this year.
0-1 on the way, as that one is fouled off.
And that never feels good to hit yourself.
As we do see some more arms warming up in the Regulators bullpen, so if this game were to go in the bottom of the 9th, they're prepared. 0-2 count. Hernandez, needs to get some strikes in here, as if not, Copperheads can get that go-ahead run. 0-2. Swung on and fouled.
That's for sure, but even in that Disco Turkeys Copperheads opening day game, the Copperheads couldn't hold the lead. So, bottom of the 9th, with the Copperheads having to hit, is not out of question here.
0-2 from Hernandez. As that one is roped into left field with the Armstrong. He's going home. As the throw from DeColo is coming in, and the play at the plate not in time. The Copperheads take the lead in the bottom of the 8th inning as the Cardiac Copperheads strike once again in the snake pit. They hold an 8-7 advantage. As what a game it's been. As the fans here at Coxville High School getting every penny of their money's worth.
Yes, they are.
Now batting, number 5, Connor Hall.
And not many teams enter the snake pit here without at least getting roughed up a little bit. Even if they win, it's not an easy win.
As Will Gray gets the double right there, now 2 runners in scoring position. The Copperheads now looking for a little bit more comfortability coming into the 9th inning. That one swung on, popped up and foul, and over the away dugout. So Caden Haywood is standing on third base. You have to imagine a well-driven ball by Connor Paul into the outfield would give the Copperheads a 2-run advantage. And a 1-run cushion, that's kind of iffy because any swing of the bat can tie things up, but 2 runs, and then you give yourself a little more leeway.
And with Connor Paul at the plate, he's that deep ball threat I was talking about.
As all the infield is touching the grass, aware of the bunt threat. Haywood standing 90 feet away. Fastball outside portion for a strike.
And I guess nobody told the Regulators that when you're near a snake pit, you got to watch your ankles.
Yeah, I mean, the Copperheads just kind of, biting from the ankles, not coming in bunches, but little by little, they're striking back. 0-2 from Hernandez, as that one is swung on and foul.
They may be doing it in the right way. The Regulators never sounded the alarm, And that's worked to the Copperheads' advantage because now they're pouring it on in bunches, hopefully.
You have to give a lot of credit to Mike Fergala. He had no outs, bases loaded. The game was 7-2 at that point. The game could have got out of hand. He got out of that jam and kept this game close.
Yeah, not his best outing.
As we see right there, Connor Paul watches the fastball go by for strike 3. As Paul's going to regret keeping the bat on the shoulder right there.
But for Fergalok, not his best outing, but definitely a bright spot in it where he got himself out of a jam. And his teammates are going to be thanking him and congratulating him for keeping him in that ball game, or in the ball game early.
Josh Jones now at the dish for the Copperheads as Caden Haywood still stands at third. Will Gray at second. It's a 8-7 ball game in the bottom half of the 8th. Good take right there from Jones. As these Copperheads boys just trying to get rolling in the early stages of the season as we kind of seen the momentum here for the Copperheads picking up. Swing and a miss right there from Jones. Count now 1-1.
And Jones, 3 RBIs coming into this game and adding another one tonight. He's a clutch player. So maybe the hit's not coming, but the clutch and the RBIs and the driving in runs, he's doing what the team needs.
Yeah, I mean, he drove in a run by way of kind of a sacrifice ground out. And his last plate appearance. 1-1 from Hernandez. As that's
He
an
was
ugly,
kind of the one who got this thing started.
Yeah, he was. That's an ugly swing right there from Jones. Fooled on the off speed. And now Hernandez 1 strike away from getting out of a jam.
But for Jones, if he puts it all together, he's going to be a dangerous player for the Copperheads.
1-2 on the way from Ian Hernandez. Swung on, chopped foul. So the count stays at 1-2. Hernandez looks in, gets the sign from his catcher. Hertz comes set. The 1-2 once more. Low and in the dirt. Good take right there from Jones.
Yeah, Hernandez looking to get out of this inning, but the damage has been done already.
Hernandez comes set. 2-2 on the way. Swing and a miss right there and right into the mitt of Cooper Hertz for out number 3. But the Copperheads with a big bottom half of the 8th inning. Isaac Armstrong got things started. And then we see Will Gray drive in the go-ahead run. Top half of the 9th inning here. Regulators down to their bottom 3 outs. As it's a 8-7 ball game. We'll be back here in just a moment. You don't want to miss here. Last call for the Regulators. 2-3-4 due up here in the top half of the 9th inning. 8-7 ball game. I'm Zane Metz, Eric Finley alongside me. And thank you for sticking with us if you've had a great game to watch. As that did not get Gibbs. As Jacob Painter out for yet another inning of work. Eric, do you think this is more of a situational thing where the Regulators haven't been able to hit Painter, or more of a lack of pitching depth by the Copperheads?
I think it equates to what they did with Josh Jones the other night. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they're going to see if they can get 3 scoreless from a two-way player. because they're going to see what two-way player that they can trust down the stretch this season.
As Painter has been a guy that they can trust, so far tonight. And looking for the save right here. As Painter had 1 innings pitched and 2 strikeouts coming into tonight. And keeping up that scoreless tally. Big swing and a miss right there from Gibbs. As Gibbs has stolen 2 bags tonight. Has been a really pivotal part on both sides of the ball for the Regulators.
And Painter, I can't even call him change of pace anymore. They've had a chance to see him a couple times. It must just be the fact that he's doing something with the ball. Probably got some spin, maybe throwing some change-ups in there.
1-2. And tipped off into the screen. So Painter digs back into the rubber. Working out of the windup. The 1-2 on the way. Swung on, and that's the Morales at shortstop. Makes a diving play, but gets past the outstretched glove into John Jones in the outfield. And the Regulators have something going here in the top half of the 9th inning. As that ball was ripped right there from Gibbs.
And for Morales, it looks like he just got his foot caught in the dirt on that dive. He expected to maybe dive a little bit further than that or take another step before that dive.
As Copperheads is now up. 1 for 4 in the night with an RBI single. As we do see Isaac Armstrong at third base creeping in. That one blooped into right field. And that ball's going to get down right in front of Caden Haywood. So 2 batters up, 2 batters on base by way of singles. And the Regulators striking here in the top half of the 9th.
And for the Copperheads, Gibbs is not a guy you want on second. I mean, he's shown that he can score on a short fly, anything. He's got speed.
And this brings in Michael Perry. He had a 2-run jack earlier in the game. As you're mentioning, Gibbs standing at second base. He's stolen 2 bags tonight. And you got to imagine any single into the outfield will still, put Gibbs into home. As we're going to have a little discussion on the mound. Doesn't look like quite a pitching change, but maybe a second for Painter just to take a breath and regroup.
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone warming up, but you never know. Maybe they had someone warming up and we didn't catch it.
So we have an 8-7 ball game. Runners on first and second base, top half of the 9th inning. As the Copperheads squeaking out a 1-run lead. I mean, Eric, they didn't lead in any stage of the ball game until the bottom of the 8th inning.
And it's been like that in almost every one of their wins this season. They really haven't taken the lead in most games until 7th, 8th, or 9th innings.
It looks like the umpire breaks up that mound discussion. And we're back to baseball.
And if you look at the scores by innings, they just from this point before, they were just going 2, 2, 2. They were just 2 runs at a time. The Copperheads were chipping away.
So Painter gets an opportunity to take a deep breath. And Michael Perry digs in for the 5th time tonight. A big chance right here from Jacob Painter to get a save. Swing and a miss right there from Perry. And Eric, who do you feel like has more pressure here? Painter on the mound with no outs in the inning, 2 runners on, or Perry with the pressure to drive him in?
I think it's definitely Painter on the mound.
That one popped up as we see Paul tracking back into foul territory. That's going to be a tough one. And that ball was not caught.
And the reason I say it's Painter on the mound, because Perry at the plate knows that if Lopez coming over, or no, who was that? Who came over for that?
Yeah, that was Lopez or Haywood.
Yeah. Either if any of our fielders had to slide to catch that ball, and the time they got up and threw it, Gibbs is at third.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say, is if you catch that ball, I mean, Gibbs moves 90 feet up and only 90 feet away from tying up this ball game. So I don't hate that, being a drop right there. Painter up at the count, 0-2 on the way. That one fouled off.
I mean, if a ball is foul, if you're the Copperheads, you almost don't want to catch it unless you have your momentum back towards the field to make a throw.
Painter looks back at Gibbs at second, 0-2 on the way. Gets some looking! Nasty off speed from Jacob Painter. And Michael Perry gets caught frozen at the dish.
And for Perry, he goes from blasting a home run to getting caught looking by a two-way player. I wonder how he's feeling about his night.
I mean, that's the second time tonight Perry has gone down on strikes looking. And Trey Hernandez now up for the Regulators. Hernandez, healthy hack right there, swings through it.
And maybe Painter's more than a two-way player. Him and Jones might become some guys that they can put in late in games.
Hernandez has reached safely 3 times tonight, but only officially 1 for 2 on the stat sheet. Just misses right there from Painter as we see Brandon Gibbs at second base really dancing around, trying to get in the head of Painter, as obviously a big base running threat.
And I have to give credit to Santos. He's been doing a good job of framing up Painter's pitches to really give him every extra help that he can.
And we have to remember this. Last time that Gibbs was on second base, tried to steal third, Lazaro Santos threw him out at third, so something to keep in mind before Gibbs tries to take a base.
Yeah, Santos really has turned around his season tonight. I'm excited to see how he looks going forward.
2-1. As that one is chopped over the head of Isaac Armstrong. Gibbs is rounding third. He's going to go home. Will Grant left field, no throw. And we have a tied ball game. A major chopper right there from Trey Hernandez over the outstretched glove of Isaac Armstrong. 8-8 ball game, top half of the 9th inning.
Now batting number 16, Sam Del Colo.
And you know what? We've had a pretty dry summer. I wonder if that dirt is bouncing extra hard tonight.
I mean, that one went right over the head of Armstrong. And what a game this is turning out to be, Eric. I mean, just everything that you want in a baseball game we've had. Swung on, fouled as Sam DiColo now up for the Regulators. And I must have to say that the SCBL, whenever we have these live streams, at least the games that I've called at least, we've had great games. Opening night, Regulators come back from 6 runs, score 7 runs in the 9th inning to win the game. Copperheads have had 2 comeback wins on the SCBL broadcast. Last night, a comeback win, and just a ton of great games that we've been able to broadcast this summer.
And then you got to shout out the A's who exploded and had their season best game while we were broadcasting here at Cox Mill. But the Copperheads were kind of showing some offense late, and you thought maybe could bring it back.
0-2 from Painter. Misses outside. Good catch from Santos. And we saw last night not only the walk-off by the Copperheads, being live streamed, but also
the literal walk-off.
Yeah. The Regulators went into Moore Park and won 9-8. So Hertz is at second. Hernandez at first. 1-2 on the way from Jacob Painter. As that is fouled and into the mitt of Lazaro Santos for out number 2.
And that's a big out there for Painter. If he can get this next guy, limit the damage. The Copperheads have faith in their bats, especially in a tie game, bottom of the 9th. They've done it before. They just need that situation.
That brings in Ryan Pruitt. It's not a great night tonight, 0 for 3, but as we mentioned earlier, a home run away from the cycle last night, a co-player of the game for the Regulators. And a runner standing 180 feet away from being the go-ahead run here in the top of the 9th inning. So Painter looks in, 1-0 on the way. Swung on, and that's going to be threw into the outfield. Haywood will find it. Perry coming around and will stay at third base. What a throw from Caden Haywood. Keeps the bases loaded. As we've seen multiple times tonight, Caden Haywood showing off the arm in right field and keeps that runner at third base, and that loads up the bases for Luke Baylor.
The real question is Baylor going to get a chance to swing tonight?
I mean, he's been hit all 4 times, but we'll have a new pitcher into the game for the Copperheads. Bases loaded, 2 outs, a pressure-packed situation, and we'll be back here in just a moment from Cox Mill High School. Bases loaded, 2 outs, top of the 9th inning. This is something kids dream of right here if you're going up to bat. New pitcher to the game for the Copperheads, that being Isaac Armstrong.
I mean, this is a situation that you dream of when you're just playing around in the backyard, isn't it?
It sure is. Luke Baylor up, and he's up for his 5th time tonight, but he's 0 for 0. Been hit all 4 times, and Armstrong can't afford to hit him right here. Swing and a miss right there from Baylor, as Armstrong's up 0-2 early.
He's not going home empty-handed. He's got about 4 bruises, but he doesn't want to make it 5.
Armstrong looks in. Come set, 0-2 on the way. And gets him looking! 3 pitches, 3 strikes, and gets Baylor looking at the top of the 9th inning. Have yourself a relief appearance, Isaac Armstrong. 8-8 ball game going to the bottom of the 9th inning. We'll see if the Cardiac Copperheads can get it done here at Cox Mill High School. Back here, bottom of the 9th inning, as this game's all knotted up 8-8. As Jack Lopez is now up 8-9-10. Do it for the Copperheads. So if they're going to do it here, they got to do it the bottom half of their order.
Yes, they do. But Jack Lopez knows how to put a storybook ending on a game.
Yeah, I mean, he's already walked off 1 game so far this season. And Lopez trying to get a leadoff single right here. Not a guy with a lot of pop, but a guy that can get on base a lot. As the new pitcher into the game for the Regulators is Ty Parker. As Parker, first 2 pitches of the evening are balls from Garber, Oklahoma. 6 foot 165 freshman from Crowley County Community College.
Another one of those out-of-town guys for the Regulators. They really have reached far and wide for this team.
We have a 2-1 count. As that one is chopped down the third base line and just foul.
Just a couple unlucky bounces on its way down the third base line there. One more bounce to the right, and it would have been fair.
So back-to-back strikes from Parker evens up the count at 2-2. Swing and a miss right there. Lopez goes looking and swings through the curveball. Parker puts down the first batter of the night he faces.
Now batting number 6, Lazaro Santos.
And that brings up Lazaro Santos. As with the struggles that the bottom half of the orders had all season so far, the Copperheads looking more and more at extra innings baseball, Eric.
Definitely, but tonight, the bottom half of the order hasn't looked too terrible.
Yeah,
Santos has looked better. Painter got his hit. The guys are looking better down there.
yeah, I mean, Santos had an RBI single in his first at-bat. 0-1 misses. As we saw down at the Friar at Charlotte High School, the Mooresville Spinners pull out a massive win over the Corn Dogs. And the Copperheads looking for a walk-off win here. 2-1 count, 1 out in the inning.
And how many more times are we going to say Copperheads looking for a walk-off win this season?
I mean, for the sake of us being, non-partial and just trying to see some good baseball, I got to hope a lot of times. That's my hope.
Same here. It's been entertaining, that's for sure.
Parker working out of the windup, 2-2 on the way. Up and in fastball. So looking ahead to tomorrow night, all 8 SCBL teams will be in action. Copperheads travel to Concord High School to play the A's. The Disco Turkeys go out to Uwharrie to play the Wampus Cats. Regulators go down to the Friar to play the Corn Dogs, as that one is chopped to the second baseman. Gibbs fields it for out number 2. And then the final game, the Statesville Owls will be traveling down I-77 to play the Mooresville Spinners at Moore Park.
Now batting number 8, Jacob Painter.
So Jacob Painter is the last hope here for the Copperheads in the bottom half of the ninth until we go to extra innings baseball.
I think for Jacob Painter here, it's just about getting on base. If you can get on base and bring up Morales, then you get back to that part of the order that's had a really great night.
Oh, one from Parker. Swing and a miss right there. Back-to-back sliders and back-to-back swing and a miss from Jacob Painter. That slider's nasty. Parker now 1 strike away, 0-2. And might as well triple up on the fastballs while you got him. Drop third strike, fire down to first, and extra innings baseball is on the way. As Ty Parker comes out of the bullpen and shuts it down for the Regulators. 8-8 game, top half of the 10th inning on the way. What a game we've had at Coxville High School
Only
tonight.
took us 5 games to get the extra inning baseball.
Indeed. As Braden Moore digs in top of the 10th inning, and Eric, no MLB rules. No runner starting at second base here in the SCBL.
Got to do it the hard way, don't they?
As Isaac Armstrong back on the bump, and he did the job for the Copperheads. Kane in, and 1 batter up, 1 batter down. Swing and a miss right there, and I mean, Armstrong, a position player by trade, obviously pitched some in high school when, I mean, pitching well so far this summer. 1-1. Swing and a miss right there.
And for the Copperheads, if they could pull this game out while riding the latter half of this game with multiple position players, you got to feel good going forward the rest of the season, because that's now 3 or 4 position players who can hold their own on the mound.
1-2, fouled off the chest protector of Lazaro Santos.
We've seen Louis Hill, Josh Jones, Painter.
That one popped up in the infield as we see no one calling for it. As you have to imagine, Isaac Armstrong was going to be the one calling for that ball as it was coming right for him. Jack Lopez couldn't make the run in, and miscommunication leads off to a leadoff single.
Really just an unusual error there from Armstrong, who had an amazing night at third.
Yeah, I mean, what a wacky situation right there.
But as I was saying, between Armstrong, Hill, Jones, and Painter, that's 4 guys who you can trust who are two-way players.
Outside fastball for a strike, and if the Copperheads end up allowing a run this inning, that run ends up being Braden Moore. You're going to look back at that play and be like, man, how can, a miscommunication that big in that big of a moment?
So, I mean, that would be the easiest catch of the night for Armstrong. He made that impressive play at third. He's been making plays in the hot corner all day, but on the mound, he doesn't go and get that one. That's his ball all day.
0-2. Good pitch from Armstrong. Gets him looking on the outside corner as Armstrong is dotting him up on the bump.
Number 1, Ryan Hines.
And that brings in Ryan Hines up for his 6th plate appearance. 0 for 5 on the night. Ryan Hines grounded to a double play twice tonight. Try not to make it 3 here. Fastball up from Armstrong.
And for Armstrong, he's going to be doing everything he can to make sure that happens the third time and at least make sure that that runner on first doesn't score and it be his fault.
1-0, swing and a miss from Hines. So Armstrong looks over at Moore at first. 1-1 on the way. Swung on, popped over the screen and foul.
No, Armstrong batting in the 3-hole. Would love to give himself a chance to hit next inning to win this game, only having to score 1 run.
1-2, fouled off into the screen. So the count stays there. Armstrong taking a big deep breath. Trying to find a put-away pitch right here. Come set, 1-2 on the way. And that one is driven into left center field. Josh Jones getting under it for out number 2. Ryan Hines now 0 for 6 on the night. And that brings in a man that has done much of the opposite from Ryan Hines, Brandon Gibbs. So Gibbs comes in with 2 outs here in the top half of the 10th inning. And Braden Moore standing on first base. Armstrong comes set. And misses high.
And when Gibbs is on the base paths, those outfielders, they got to make sure their arms are loose because they have to be rocketing those balls back in or else he's going to take extra bases.
1-0. Misses high once more. As the Copperheads will be going on the road to Concord High School tomorrow night to play their fellow Concord foe, the Concord A's. They lost to them the first time, and that's their only home loss of the season up to this date. 2-0. And that's a good slider right there from Armstrong into the zone.
Yeah, for the Copperheads, they're going to want to just pile it on against the A's. They want to do to the A's what the A's did to them because they really probably feel like they had an off night when they played the A's.
2-1. Swing and a miss right there from Gibbs. And Armstrong now 1 strike away from handing things back to his offense.
You know who's not having an off night is Armstrong. He is dealing up there at the mound.
And 2 doubles at the plate as well.
And he held it down on the hot corner for most of the game.
2-2. Misses high.
Maybe we need to stop talking about players.
Maybe. I mean, I feel like you more than me. Anytime you talk good about them, they mess up. But nonetheless, we'll have a full count. 2 outs in the inning. It's an 8-8 game, top half of the 10th.
What would our
As
jobs-
Armstrong just misses right there. Brandon Gibbs, take your base. And that just adds another wrinkle into this game.
What would our jobs be if we didn't talk about the players, though?
I mean, right?
Cooper Hertz.
Now Cooper Hertz, the 3-hole hitter, is up. Hertz with 2 singles today, one of those being an RBI single.
Had a pretty good day at the plate.
Swing and a miss right there from Hertz. Down to the count 0-1. So Braden Moore standing 180 feet away from being the go-ahead run at second base. And Brandon Gibbs at first base. Armstrong comes set. 0-1 on the way. Misses high.
And every base that Moore advances is just that regret getting larger and larger in the back of Armstrong's brain.
But he'll have to move past that one as Cooper Hertz is the task at hand. 1-1. Swing and a miss right there from Hertz. And back-to-back batters. Armstrong's going to have to find that put-away pitch to get himself out of the inning.
Couldn't do it last at bat. We'll have to do something differently here.
1-2. As that one is roped into the gap, that ball's going to get down. We see Moore around third. He's coming home. Gibbs is going to round third. He's coming home. A 2-run stand-up double in the top half of the 10th inning. Cooper Hertz gets it done for the Regulators. It's a 10-8 ball game. Down to their final life. 2 outs, 2 strikes. Cooper Hertz, have yourself a bow. As, I mean, what a piece of hitting right there in the right center field gap.
And for Armstrong, that's just 2 straight batters where he couldn't find that put-away pitch. And I think he just got a little nervous and hung one there, and they've taken advantage.
As, what a piece of hitting right there from Cooper Hertz. Just changes this game, flips it upside down. Michael Perry now up.
And now for Armstrong, he'll be looking to his at-bat now in the bottom of the 10th to right his own wrong.
0-1 from Armstrong. Swung on, and that's to Morales at shortstop. 1 hop, fires across the diamond for out number 3. Actually, he misses it. A buff play right there from Connor Paul at first. And we'll see Cooper Hertz score the 3rd run of the inning as things are going from bad to worse in the Copperheads in the top half of the 10th.
And Armstrong, he's had some troubles with his arm tonight. He's been a little bit wayward tonight.
So Michael Perry advanced to second on the error.
Number 8, Connor Curry.
As now we have an 11-8 ball game. First pitch from Armstrong. Strike right there. So Perry standing on second base. 2 outs as Armstrong just hasn't been able to get that all-elusive 3rd out.
And the all-elusive 3rd strike as well.
I mean, I sound like a broken record here, but for the 3rd straight at bat, Armstrong now 1 strike away from getting out of the top half of the 10th inning. Let's see if he can get it done. Misses up and in.
And for the Copperheads, would it have paid off to maybe just to put in a closer for an inning, knowing that having the lead and pitching a guy 1 inning means you could probably still use him again this weekend?
1-2. Poked and foul. Count stays at 1-2. That's just an unfortunate turn of events for the Copperheads tonight. Armstrong comes set. 1-2 once more on the way. Popped and foul. Armstrong 1 strike away once more. Trying to flip it over to the offense, see what they can do in the bottom half of the 10th, but they'll have a 3-run deficit to work with. 1-2. As that one is to Morales at shortstop. Easy play, and he buffs it. As the runner will be going to a plate, the throw from Morales, that's haywire. Make it a 12-8 ball game as the fielding woes from the Copperheads continue, as the Regulators continue to pile it on here in the top half of the 10th.
And, you know, for the Copperheads, they live by others' errors and they die by their own errors, and that's the way it's been tonight.
Now batting number 16, Sam Del Colo.
As back-to-back batters reach base safely by way of an error. And looks like a potential pitching change for the Copperheads, but I feel like at this point, you kind of have to let Armstrong ride it out in some sense.
Yeah, maybe just calming him down. If anything, maybe you put another position player on. But it's too late now to put in another actual pitcher who you might need later this weekend.
So the whole infield will gather around and chat it over. As, I mean, Armstrong just can't find that oh-so-elusive third strike. I mean, that's just been his kryptonite tonight.
And then you got to sit here and have two unlucky plays where Morales just bobbles it. I mean, that's two Morales errors in a row. That's now up to 3 errors for him on the season.
So the huddle will break on the mound. Regulators lead 12-8, top half of the 10th inning, as a little bit of good luck on the Regulators' part and a little bit of skill has gotten them this 4-run lead.
And maybe for the Copperheads, it's time to think Morales might need a couple games at the DH, maybe just hit a couple games, or might have to move him around a little bit if he can't get his fielding and throwing right.
Yeah, the bat has definitely been there, though. There is no question about that. Maybe just an unlucky night at shortstop, but for a matter of fact, he'll shake it off, and what a great player he's been so far this summer. Armstrong fires back to first, but to no avail. And a swing and a miss right there. As this one, if the Copperheads can't, have a magical rally in the bottom half of the 10th, this one's going to sting, Eric.
It really is.
Swing and a miss right there, and Armstrong now, once again, 1 strike away.
And it stings because it felt like it's almost your roster limitations are what caused this loss, because you're one great closing pitcher away from winning this ball game.
When I think what hurts even more is you're down in the game 7-2, you come back, tie it up, take the lead, and then can't pull it out, as we see Armstrong gets him looking right there. So we'll go to the bottom half of the 10th inning. It's a 12-8 ball game. Can the Cardiac Copperheads pull yet another miracle out? Copperheads down by 4 runs going into the bottom half of the 10th inning, but 1, 2, 3 do up for the Copperheads. Eric, any chance they can pull this out? I mean, I don't want to say never is never, but, I mean, it looks very improbable.
It's looking bleak. I would say never as the Cardiac Copperheads, but it's the same situation as the A's. They got it pretty close in that one, too, and couldn't pull it out.
as that one is into right center field. As we see Haywood going back over there, that ball's going to drop. That ball's in the gap. Morales rounding two. He's going to stay two. A leadoff double for Luis Morales.
And it's looking up.
I mean, you never know. Morales with a stand-up double. And Kel Ayler now up.
Number 26, Cale Ayler.
It really just comes down to how much hitting can they get deep into this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, Ty Parker out for second inning of work, and Eric, when Parker came in the ninth inning, really shut things down for the Regulators.
Exactly. So it really just depends.
So Morales stands on second, and Ayler up to bat. That one misses high. As Ayler reached safely twice tonight, but no hits, 0 for 3. 1-0, inside.
Because even from Ty Parker, he's looked a little up and down at times as well. All of them have.
Yeah, I mean, it'd almost be ironic in a sense if the Copperheads can come and pull this one back somehow.
It really would be.
2-0. Swing and a miss right there. So Parker looks, gets the sign from Hertz behind the dish. Morales standing on second. 2-1 on the way. Gets him looking.
It seems to me the Copperheads play every game with a never say die mentality. Even when they're down big, they're swinging the bats, and they're going to see how many runs they can put up and how close they can make it.
2-2 on the way from Parker. Inside. Oh, he gets some! As Ayler had to get out of the way of that ball, but the umpire says, Ayler, you can go back to the dugout. That's strike 3.
Yeah, interesting call there from the umpire.
But nonetheless, that's out number 1, and Isaac Armstrong's now up.
He'll be looking to right his wrongs of the last inning pitching. He'll feel much better about his night if maybe he could drive in a run or even get one out of the park and get himself in as well.
Yeah, I mean, Armstrong has really turned around his night at the dish at least. He started the night 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, then back-to-back stand-up doubles with an RBI in the process both times. So Parker looks in, delivers the 0-1. Misses outside. Good job by Hertz keeping that ball in front of him. Morales still standing at second. Swung on down the right field line foul.
I mean, for Armstrong, it'd be big for his confidence here to just get something in play, drive in a run, or at least advance the runner after what happened last inning.
Armstrong down the count 1-2. Swings and fouls it off himself.
Seemed like he just missed that one.
So the count stays at 1-2. Parker comes set and will fire home. Gets him with the off speed. Armstrong strikes out for the 4th time tonight. And the Regulators now 1 out away from pulling out yet another home road victory.
And for the Copperheads, it's looking bleak, but 2 outs are where they seem to shine some games.
As they're going to need to shine bright like a diamond if they want to come back in this one. As a tall task at hand, every batter can potentially be the last batter of the game now. As Caden Haywood stands in the righty's batter's box.
They need the 2-out rallies of all 2-out rallies, that is for sure.
1-0, check swing foul.
But Parker on the mound, he does look large and in charge tonight.
Count now at 1-1. Regulators 2 strikes away. And make that 1 strike away after the foul ball. So Parker digs back into the rubber, looks in, gets the sign from Hertz behind the dish. Could this be the deciding factor? 1-2 on the way. And that ball's high.
I mean, the Regulators, the whole team is nearly standing outside of the dugout right now. They're ready to celebrate.
Parker looks in, gets set. 2-2 on the way. He gets some looking! As the Regulators back-to-back nights, back-to-back road victories. As what a start to the season for the Regulators Baseball Club. Final score, Regulators 12, Copperheads 8. As called the Regulators the Road Warriors as they step into Moore Park last night, get the victory, and step into the Snake Pit tonight and get a tough road victory in extra innings. 12-8 is your final score through 10 innings of baseball.
Yeah, and I mean, for the Regulators, they stuck with it the whole game. And when the game got tied, they didn't get tense. They had a couple of pitchers who came in and were shaky, but then they found their guy in Parker there at the end, and the bats got hot when it mattered, and they took the lead. And the Copperheads, the magic just ran out. And I think that's going to be the struggle for the Copperheads down the stretch, is when they take the lead, do they have the pitching to hold on to it?
As you got to imagine, our player of the game is Cooper Hertz, 3 RBIs on the night, and hit that decisive stand-up 2 RBI double to really hit things open in the top half of the 10th inning, Eric.
I'd agree with you on that one.
So that's all she wrote here at Coxville High School. I want to say thank you for spending your Friday evening with us. For me, Zane Metz, and my broadcast partner to my right, Eric Finley, we hope you have a great rest of your evening and start your weekend off right by watching some SCBL baseball. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you for joining us, as we hope to see you